Welcome to the ABG Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm your host with the most. My name is Michael Marcanio, and I'm here with my co-host, Tyler Ravelis, also known as It's Your Boy T on Twitter. Follow him. Links in the description. And Anthony Ravelis. Follow him on other social medias down below in the description. Did I say my name? My name is Michael Marcanio. I think I did. Guess what we're doing today? We're breaking down week 1 of the NFL. We got a lot less COVID diagnoses than we thought. It's pretty exciting. There are more injuries, like actual injuries. But before we get into that, if you want to have an easier experience with the podcast and you want to know, say you don't have time for the whole podcast and you want to check out, like, okay, I want to see them break down the Seahawks Falcons game. Well, go ahead and look in the description. There should be a table of contents there with timestamps right when we start talking about the Seahawks. Any game, you can go through and navigate through the episode that way. It makes it super, super easy to consume the podcast if you don't have time for the full one. We're trying to knock out all these matchups in this one. But if you haven't already, I think we're 4 away from our YouTube subscriber goal. So smash that subscribe button on the YouTube. That is so cringy. I hate when YouTubers say smash that subscribe. Smash it.
I would do the spirit fingers, but
my fingers hurt.
His fingers hurt.
I figured that much.
Yeah. Okay.
I have a brain. It works, Mike.
Oh, okay. Didn't know.
Okay.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe you would see that if you weren't wearing glasses.
Listen, I'm wearing these glasses because I have really bad allergies. I keep blinking and I don't want to be distracting, so I'm wearing these glasses. So if you haven't subscribed already to the Apple Podcast app, go ahead and do that and leave us a rating and review. It helps us out big time. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter. If you have any questions about starting lineups, go ahead and send us those on social media and we'll get back to you. Boom. Let's get into it. I don't want to mess around too much because we got a lot to talk about.
you guys want to do a little Thursday night rapid recap of the game right there?
We could start with that.
I like rapid recap. We need to start.
I do like that, actually.
Rapid recap.
Sometimes the best things happen on accident.
The little rapid recap. So, so what did you guys think of the game? It was kind of boring, if you ask me, but we did get some information fantasy-wise. I think we all started Brandon Cooks, and we were a little bit upset about it. If we want to start on the Texans side.
We kind of discussed that we didn't know what his snap percentage was going to be and how much he was going to be on the field. To me, it seemed like they took him off in the second half because it's like, why risk it? You were getting blown out. Yeah, it's like, why even risk further injury at that point? You know, you need him for the long run. You don't need him for this game. You weren't going to come back at that point, or at least there's a slim chance that you were, but most likely you weren't. So why risk further injury with that?
Yeah, it was a little, like you even said it off air, Anthony. I think, like, if he wasn't okay to go, I don't think they would have risked him in week 1 to go out there, with the length of the season there. We've seen guys like today, a lot of alerts, Kenny Golladay, Mike Evans, just a couple guys. Those guys have been downgraded to doubtful. So, like you said, I think if Cooks was really that bad, they probably just wouldn't have even thrown him out there. But I think they're probably just like load management, almost like, hey, this game's out of reach. There's no reason to go out there and make it worse. But one thing I can say with Cooks, he was kind of a high risk, high reward flex play for you if you started him. Obviously, it didn't work out. But just some things to, people could be like, oh, Brandon Cooks sucks. He's not going to be the guy. I'm still all in on Brandon Cooks here. And, I think he's a perfect buy low target if you get him. Going forward, maybe the owner's panicking, thinking like, oh, he's a bum. It's Will Fuller. So I'm still trying to get Brandon Cooks, and I think, for the duration of the season, he's still going to be good. Just some numbers here that make me feel good about him. Fuller led the team with targets with 10, but Brandon Cooks had 5. I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but it was the second most on the team, and for a guy who only played about half the game, that's not that bad. And just some things that make me feel a little bit confident in Brandon Cooks going forward is that I would be more worried or have a little more be more nervous about Cooks going forward if Randall Cobb or Kenny Stills had a good game, but neither of those guys showed up last night at all. Randall Cobb only 3 targets, only a couple catches, nothing crazy, and then Kenny Stills only 2 targets, 0 receptions.
And he dropped a pass or 2.
Yeah.
Also.
So like I said, those guys didn't really show up. It's going to be Will Fuller and Brandon Cooks going forward, a 1A, 1B scenario. Like Anthony said, I think they were kind of just, game was out of reach. he's dealing with the quad. There's no reason to throw him out there and risk him being out going forward when the game was out of reach.
What do you guys think? Darren Fells looked like he was kind of more involved, or what was it, Akins, or are you still not touching tight ends in Houston?
He only had 2 targets, but they were 2 nice targets, to say the least.
Yeah. They were great targets.
They were great targets.
They were great targets.
They say great targets are better than not great targets.
They were the best targets of all the targets.
I'm actually, if you're a Will Fuller owner, encouraged by this game. I think it's kind of clear that as of right now, he is the one. Whether Brandon Cooks can step up and be the 1B or not, we'll wait to see. But, he was limited. So, I mean, if you're someone who drafted Will Fuller, I think you're going to end up probably, if he plays 16, getting a value out of him. Don't need to be the dead horse with what Tyler said. But if I'm a Will Fuller owner, I'm feeling pretty happy at this point.
What about David Johnson? I mean, I feel like if you're a David Johnson owner, you got to be pretty happy. I mean, the guy looked pretty good. I mean, 14 total touches, 109 total yards, and a touchdown. It kind of got phased out of the game plan, in terms of, the running game because, they were behind by so much, so they turned to a pass-happy offense. But he looked pretty good out there.
Yeah, he did look good. I'm a little worried about this Texans team in general, which is that offensive line didn't look very good.
Yeah.
And they have Pittsburgh coming up, and there's another tough defense. I'm trying to think off of head. Mike, if you could pull it up real fast while I speak about this.
Yeah.
So that kind of actually, just speaking to Brandon Cooks, makes me a little bit worried, too, about his next 2 matchups as well. I think David Johnson looked a lot better than I expected. And that's kind of one thing that's a bummer about the preseason is we didn't get to see what these guys looked like. We knew the workload was going to be there, but all we had is last year where David Johnson didn't look like the same David Johnson. Had we seen 10, 15 snaps of him, getting the carries, looking a little bit more agile, looking like somewhat like his old self, I would have moved David Johnson up. So with that said, though, a couple tough matchups coming up. That offensive line worries me. So yeah, I still think he's a high-end RB2 going forward. But who'd you say?
No, it goes Steelers, Vikings, and then you do get Jaguars, which
you do get the Jaguars.
That's not bad.
That's not bad after that.
But then it's Titans, Packers. Yeah. But the Steelers Vikings matchup is a little bit rough.
Yeah. But I think, where you drafted him, the way he looks, I think he's going to end up being a pretty good value for where you took him because he ended up going late in real drafts. I think most people didn't really feel comfortable taking him because of what they saw last year.
Yeah. We could jump into the
Texans
Chiefs side.
Yeah.
I mean, Mahomes did his thing. Kelsey did his thing. Tyreek, I feel like if it wasn't for Clyde Edwards-Helaire being stuffed at the 1,700 times, I think Tyreek Hill would have got you a dud game here because he kind of bailed you out with that touchdown from the 1-yard line, I feel like.
Yeah.
Especially in PPR. I mean, that's 7 extra points right there. I'm not sure what he finished with, but he didn't have a crazy Tyreek Hill kind of game. And like I said, if Clyde Edwards-Helaire punched that in, he probably would have got you a dud game. But it was a little reassuring to see, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, even though he did get stuffed at the 1 so many times that, they kept trying to feed him the ball over and over and over again. But for whatever reason, once they got close, it was crazy because the guy was breaking off 8-yard, 10-yard runs left and right. And then when it got close to the 1-yard line, he just couldn't punch it in for a second or third score. But pretty good to see Clyde Edwards-Helaire right there.
I mean, that wasn't so much him though. It was half J.J. Watt, half the offensive line. I don't think Darrell Williams would have done much better in that situation. So I'm not reading too much into that. I mean, one thing with that speed on the outside, he's going to have holes all day because teams aren't coming up to stop Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So he's going to probably be. I'd say he's a safe bet to be above 5 yards of carry all year, just because that the speed they have in that offense, they can't come in and stop the run, and it's just he's going to have some big games with some daylight.
Yeah.
So I mean, the pass catching is going to come. I think that was just a fluke this year, and for some reason Andy Reid does that. He'll just forget to use his running backs in the passing game sometimes. I don't know why, but it just seems to happen. So don't panic on that aspect. But I mean, where you drafted him, and I feel like you're happy at week 1 with the volume you saw. And then, you went over Tyreek.
DeMarcus Robinson and Mecole Hardman and Sammy Watkins. I guess we could all talk about all those guys.
Yeah, Mecole Hardman was a little bit. I was talking to Mike off air for a second. Is where it's like week 1 we can get into this matchups, and I'm kind of bringing this up for this reason. I'm not going to assume that player X is going to jump into a certain role because we have nothing to go off. We had no preseason. Yeah, he was good last year, and we kind of assumed that maybe he's going to take a step forward, but like we saw it, he didn't in the offense.
Yeah.
So it's like week 1, I am not assuming shit. I'm not going to assume that player X is going to be the wide receiver 2 because we haven't seen it. I'm not going to assume that player X is going to be the RB1 or the RB2. I'm going to go with what we know and what we've seen because we had nothing in preseason, and I'm not going to play that game. I ain't playing no games.
Yeah, it's a little disheartening if you had Hardman. I think, what did he have? He only had 1 target, so that's not good. And he was actually like 4th in the pecking order. I mean, you got Kelsey, Tyreek, Sammy Watkins, and they're actually 5th in the pecking order. Demarcus Robinson had 6 targets there. But Sammy Watkins actually led this Chiefs team with 9 targets, had a touchdown. Well, I mean, what's your thoughts on Sammy Watkins? Because for me, it's like I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid. I'm not biting because he did this dance last year, week 1, 198 yards, 3 touchdowns week 1 last year. And then he didn't score a touchdown the rest of the season after scoring 3 in week 1 of last year.
I'm gonna try and trade him if I have him. I'm not picking him up anywhere or trading for him. And obviously, that's where I'm at.
I wouldn't. So if we're going fab, it's like I'd maybe spend a few bucks and see that maybe. I know he had a good playoff run last year too. Like I think he was like Super Bowl. He had a big game before they did. So maybe there's something that clicked then and they carried it over to the season. But he's not something I'm throwing into my lineup week 2. I need to see at least 2 more weeks out of it. It's somewhat consistency. So I'll burn a couple bucks in fab if I get him. Cool. If not, I mean we don't know who's going to be the hot waiver wires yet. So we'll see with that. But if he's on my team, I'm not throwing him into my lineup week 2 yet. I'm going to wait a couple weeks. Now if we see 3 weeks of consistency, then we can have the conversation of all right, is it time to believe in the Lizard Man?
The Lizard Man.
Okay, yeah, they play the Ravens next, or no, they play Chargers and then the Ravens. Wait,
so tough matchup if that's
is that right?
Schedule.
Yeah. All right, on to the matchups.
Yeah, let's.
Or did we miss anything? No, I think we're good.
Yeah, we can start the matchups.
I don't know. I started playing the Jurassic Park one in my head. There's no team with a dinosaur.
All right, well, let's start.
R.I.P. the Raptors. They went down in Game 7.
Went down.
Was that what you're watching?
So we're going to start
Celtics.
NFL Week 1. We got the Jets at the Buffalo Bills. We'll start with the Jets, the New York Jets. We got Sam Darnold. Well, obviously, when we do these matchups, we always go quarterback, running back, wide receiver, and then tight end. And then we speak on defenses, whether or not we'll be down to start them. So we'll start with Sam Darnold. Are you starting Sam Darnold in Week 1?
No.
No.
Do we have a cricket drop?
Yeah.
Bills is decent defense. Yeah, I'm okay. Starting Sam Darnold. I don't think he's that bad of a quarterback. I think you can play him in matchups, but this is not the matchup to play him. Would you guys agree?
Yes, we ain't playing games week 1.
Yeah, we'll see if he can make a jump in his 3rd year, but yeah, you're not starting Sam Darnold.
I agree. All right. We'll go on to the running back, Leveon Bell. You starting Leveon Bell. I think you have to if you drafted him, no?
He's going to get the this is another situation where I'm curious to see what they do with bringing in Frank Gore and how much work. They didn't just bring in Frank Gore to sit on the bench, and Frank Gore didn't go there to sit on the bench. So I'm wondering what they do as far as his overall rushing workload. With that said, Le'Veon Bell is still going to get a decent amount of targets in the passing game, so he's still RB2 floor safe, especially in PPRs. But I don't think the ceiling is very high this week. If you have 2 elite running back options, I can see you getting away from him and going 3 wide receivers this week. But more than likely, you're starting him.
Yeah, I mean, some of the reports at a camp were actually that they were lining Frank Gore up in the backfield, and then they're lacking playmakers. Bashard Perriman's banged up, Denzel Mims banged up. Outside of Jamison Crowder, you really have no playmakers in the passing game. So a lot of reports have been they're having Frank Gore in the backfield, and they're actually lining up Le'Veon Bell out wide or in the slot. So I think he's arguably their best play. Arguably their best player on offense. So he should see a ton of reps. He shouldn't leave the field when they're on offense. And in a game script where they could be behind, so especially in PPR, he should see at least 4 or 5 receptions with a total yardage. Does he fall in the end zone? We'll see. This Bills defense is pretty stout. But yeah, like Anthony said, I guess if you could get away from it, if you have already 2 pretty good, if you want running back heavy, but most likely you're starting Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Someone should tell Adam Gase he's the best on the team.
Someone
should let him know. We can go on to your guy, Jamison Crowder. You starting Jamison Crowder week 1?
Like it.
You love it. We should have a love it.
I mean, like I said, outside of, for me, it's, you're dialing up Le'Veon Bell because he can't catch the ball, and then Jamison Crowder. But for me, outside that, you're not playing these guys. I mean, Jamison Crowder's a nice you probably got him late in the round. I mean, the earliest he was going is 8th round, but I mean, I saw him going in some drafts, 11th, 12th round. So depending on how deep you are, if you're in a double flex league, 3 wide receiver league, or maybe, you got one of these guys like a Mike Evans, a Kenny Galladay, or, even Amari Cooper, who has a tough matchup. We'll touch on him when we get to there. But, maybe you could throw him in there. I think he's got a safe floor, especially in PPR. And like I said, they should be trailing, so should be a lot of targets to going Jamison Crowder's way.
Yes, I think Tyler kind of hit everything except for I just don't like the upside this week. He's going to be the one in that offense. Tre'Davious White is going to – we don't know how they'll shadow and how they'll do that, but – safe floor, not a huge ceiling for me. So if you're going to play the floor type, I like the floor type with Jamison Crowder. But if you're shooting for some upside, I'd look for different options.
Tre'Davious doesn't, to my understanding, doesn't really go to the slot.
But in 2 wide receiver sets, he's gonna.
Yeah.
And they don't really have much else to help him out.
Well, I threw in here Brashard Perryman.
You should just throw it out.
All right.
Throw it out.
Hey, should I do this one?
Yeah.
Then I put in Denzel Mims because he was practicing, so I didn't know what you guys thought. But I don't think you're starting Denzel Mims. Just to throw the name out there, get familiar with it. Rookie wide receiver, I suppose.
Yeah. Remember the name Denzel Mims because outside of a 4 or 5 game sample size that Perryman had down the stretch in a pass happy offense with Arians and Jameis Winston slinging the ball for 5,000 yards. This is what he got, 5,000 yards, right?
Yeah.
That's why he put up some numbers. So we'll see. Going forward, especially next year, Denzel Mims could be a guy that we're talking about week in and week out. It'll be interesting to see how much he gets utilized. He's been banged up, missing some practice and training camp and stuff like that. And he's a rookie as well, so no preseason games and stuff like that. But yeah, just a name to keep an eye on.
For sure. Chris Herndon, you playing Chris Herndon?
Not in week 1.
Not week 1 in my eyes either,
Yeah.
but not a bad tight end stash. You never know. There was a lot of hype behind Chris Herndon last year. It could come through.
I feel like there's been a lot of hype on this guy for the last couple of years, and it just hasn't panned out. And it's like I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid. It's kind of one of those scenarios like if he hits, good for you, but I'm not gonna sit around year 3 and being all right. Hopefully now he finally turns around, but. We'll see. I mean, the guy supposedly, all the reports out of camp is that the guy's got potential. Him and Sam Darnold have been clicking, but I need to see it on the field first before I feel confident throwing him in my lineup.
For sure. Okay.
100.
Jets defense. You playing Jets defense?
Negative.
That's
negative.
The Bills offense is actually not bad.
Jets defense actually. I like the Bills over here. If you're betting the game, the Jets they lose Jamal Adams. Their Pro Bowl middle linebacker C.J. Mosley's out. I mean, that's 2 of arguably their 2 best defensive players that aren't going to be on the field for them Sunday.
That's not good.
That's the shit I don't like. We can move on to the Bills. Well, got quarterback Josh Allen. I think it's safe to play Josh Allen this week.
I think you fire him up.
So I had someone ask Josh Allen or Ben Roethlisberger before. So what do you guys think? Because both of them have pretty decent matchups. You get the rushing upside. I'm Homer pick, so I said
it's like
I said Big Ben, if you look at Big Ben's schedule, this is one of his easier matchups, and the home away split actually wasn't really true anymore in 2018, so I said Big Ben.
But that was with AB and a Juju, so we don't know yet if that's back into play.
Yeah, but yeah.
I mean, for me personally, they'd be right there neck and neck. I mean, you can't. Josh Allen obviously offers the rushing upside. Big Ben plays on Monday night. Could he want to go out there on stage in front of, everyone on, millions of viewers on TV and show, hey, I'm still Big Ben. My elbow's okay. I can still huck it, chuck it, fuck it. Touchdown, Big Ben.
Suck it.
I mean, I think both these guys are startable options, Big Ben and Josh Allen. The only thing that worries me with Josh Allen is that potentially the Bills this game could get away. And he doesn't have to throw the ball a ton. Maybe he doesn't have to run a lot. And, maybe we could see a heavy Devin Singletary, heavy Zach Moss game here. And he doesn't have to throw the ball a ton because they're just in control.
Well, I think it's still a safe – I'm okay with starting Josh Allen.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I'd go Josh Allen, I want to say, very easily.
Yeah, there's just less question marks in that.
Yeah, it's
– in that
similar – I mean, a safer floor, and in the matchups, I mean, against the Jets, I mean, I want to say just as a high ceiling as Big Ben, if not more, due to the rushing that he adds to it. I mean, we've seen him, dominate some bad teams before, and it's like, yeah, maybe they get out. Maybe it's 28-3 in the first quarter. He's thrown 3 touchdowns already, and he's not going to come off the field. So I think this game can get really ugly, and Josh Allen could possibly be one of the top 3 quarterbacks this week just because the Jets defense can't stop him.
Yeah, Josh Allen can run the ball too.
Yeah.
And then not that, I mean, we can get into these guys later, but the added weapon of Diggs isn't going to hurt him in this game.
So let's talk, speaking of these other guys who are going to run the ball, let's talk Devin Singletary. We made a couple videos that a lot of people watched it about Devin Singletary, Zach Moss. Are you playing Devin Singletary week 1? Yes, I think you'd start him for sure, especially just in case, Zach Moss does take over. Maybe you get some value out of him.
This is kind of a tough question for me to answer in my own head, so I'm curious what you guys think. Devin Singletary, or it's the same game, Devin Singletary or Le'Veon Bell in a half PPR?
I'd probably go Singletary because he could boom. And I mean, like I just said, no Jamal Adams, who's a good run stopping safety. No C.J. Mosley, and the Jets are actually gonna be without 3 of their linebackers. So the middle of the Jets defense is just pretty much gutted right now, outside of their defensive line. So yeah, and Singletary, like I said, he's I think it was like the 4th highest juke rate. He's a breakaway kind of guy, so he could take any run to the house any given moment. Le'Veon Bell last year, I think he had like 1 breakaway run, which is breakaway run is like 15 or more
yards.
Rushing yards. Yeah, so not good.
I think you line up Devin Singletary though. I like it.
I agree because I feel like that was a question where most people would probably just say, "Oh, Devin's like Le'Veon Bell, start him, no brainer." But it's like I feel like I wanted to bring that up for people who are listening to the podcast that, hey, maybe it's not as much as a no-brainer as you think.
Yeah, I would play Devin Singletary there.
Yeah, I think we all 3 agree right there.
Okay, Zach Moss. Are you starting Zach Moss week 1?
Nope, not getting cute.
Yeah,
that's my opinion.
I think I want to see where it lays out first.
I think you got to see how this backfield is kind of being divvied up, the snap percentage and the carries and stuff like that, the targets, because Zach Moss is a capable pass catcher. So it'd be interesting to see. Would I be surprised if Zach Moss went out and had a good game? No, because like I just said, the Jets defense is kind of gutted in the middle right now, and I think this game could get away from what they might lean on the run a little bit more.
And everyone else could have a good game, and it could be 3rd quarter, and Zach Moss is it's his turn to shine. So it's definitely possible.
But I agree with Anthony. It's week 1. You kind of don't want to get cute. I mean, you'd have to be like in a deep league or double, triple flex, 4 flex kind of league for you to, I think it's good to have him now to see what you have. I mean, you obviously drafted Zach Moss in like the 10th round.
Yeah. So you didn't draft him at a spot where
you didn't draft him to be your starter. So he's a good depth play right now, and then it'd be interesting to see how much he gets utilized.
Yeah. Just hold on that one.
Hold on.
All right, we can move on to Stephon Diggs. Comes from Minnesota over there. Week 1, I think you got to start him maybe.
I'm going to do my Andre be like, man, he's about to ball out. But he probably is going to ball out this game. So, start Stephon Diggs.
I mean, I think they're going to want to display their shiny new toy that they just, spent all these draft picks on. And
100%.
Sign him to a contract extension or whatnot. Whatever.
I like it. All right, we can move on to John Brown. It gets a little iffier here. Are you going to start John Brown? I
want to say in like a double flex, I'm okay with it because of the upside and the matchup. So that's a situation where I'd look into it. Because I said, like, don't get cute week 1. We know John Brown is going to be the wide receiver opposite of Stephon Diggs. It's not like we're guessing that he's going to be on the field. We know he's going to be in there. So would it surprise me if he caught a long bomb and had 5 for 71 and a touchdown or something like that? No. So given the plus matchup, I'm okay with it in a double wide receiver flex.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a lot of leagues, they'll have 3 wide receivers. I think he's a good wide receiver 3 to throw out there because, I think actually having Diggs on the field is actually going to benefit John Brown because now instead of going against number 1 corners all season long, he's going to see a lot of number 2 corners. Which, I mean, obviously, if he did that good last year facing, the best corners on the opposing defense, he should be able to do just as good, against the second best corner on the team.
Some 2s are in trouble.
They're
about to get cut.
He's a good style. I don't know what his own percentage is, but, I mean, last year.
You dropped him.
I dropped him because I pretty good stacked that wide receiver, and I didn't draft the kicker, and I eventually had to draft the kicker.
Oh, I got to do that. Okay.
But, I don't know what his own percentage is right now, but if he's out there, go grab him and just throw him on your bench. People might be sleeping on him. They were already sleeping on him last year, even though he finished as a wide receiver too. But now they might be sleeping on him even more with the addition of Stephon Diggs. But like I said, I think having Diggs there only helps John Brown. So if you have a flyer spot on your bench or just a player that you could cut ties with, I'd go out and get John Brown now before he has a potential blow up game, and now you have to throw a waiver claim in or fab on him and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I like it.
You heard it here first.
You heard it here first. I feel like it's our entire podcast just picking up John Brown. All right, we got also Cole Beasley. I threw him in here just as people forget he's still on the team, and he was actually still in PPR leagues fantasy relevant. So just curious what you guys think. It's a preferable matchup too. So
not week 1.
Yeah, not week 1.
Yeah. All right. Well, we can move on.
Bills defense. You want to start them?
Yeah, Bills defense. You want to dial up
because they might be the number 1 defense
for sure.
All right. Well, let's move on to the next game. We got Green Bay Packers are taking on Minnesota Vikings in Minnesota. We're gonna start on Green Bay side of the ball. We got Aaron Rodgers. He's starting Aaron Rodgers.
Dude, real quick for you, I had a lot of leagues we were talking about where Aaron Rodgers didn't get drafted, or
which is
one of the last picks.
Yeah, he went really late in some of the drafts that we were doing.
Yeah. So with that said, I'm not starting him week 1 against the Vikings.
Yeah, I mean it's not an easy matchup for him. I think if you drafted Aaron Rodgers, unless you were one of the anomalies who drafted him early, you don't feel obligated to play him, so you probably have a better option there. I would go with that better option.
Yeah, I mean it's a division game. We assume Minnesota still has a tough defense. We saw a run-heavy approach from the Packers. It's just adding up to no, and no in week 1. I'm assuming if you drafted him, you probably drafted someone ahead of him, more than likely.
Yeah, I mean, if you're in a double quarterback league or a super flex league, then maybe take a shot on him. But, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good quarterbacks, especially some decent matchups this week that I would rather play. Even if you're just streaming quarterbacks, I would rather do that instead of starting Aaron Rodgers.
You want to hear something gross?
What's gross?
I would start Derek Carr over Aaron Rodgers.
That's so gross.
Yeah, get out of town, dude.
Get out of town, bro.
Get out of town. All right, well, that's enough Aaron Rodgers talk. We can go on to Aaron Jones. I think you got to start Aaron Jones if you drafted him at his draft price. So
yeah, you're definitely starting Aaron Jones. It'll be interesting to see at least week 1 how they divvy up these running backs. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jamal Adams, AJ Dillon was listed as the
Jamal Williams.
The third. Yeah, what did I say? Jamal Adams.
Yeah,
my bad.
He became one.
Yeah,
the fact that we can remember all these names, like just sports fans, it is insane to think about.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's camp talk or whatever, but Aaron Rodgers came out and said that Jamal Williams probably had the best camp out of any of the running backs. So, and in last year, Jamal Williams was pretty decent actually in PPR. So it'll be interesting to see, like I said, how they divvy up these RB snaps right here.
All right.
I got 0 shares of Aaron Jones. What about you guys?
Me too.
I was going to grab him in one league, but he went right before.
Maybe a trade by low candidate eventually? No? Maybe not.
Maybe. Yeah, I'm good. I also threw AJ Dillon on here, but you're not starting him. But interesting, nice rookie running back. Maybe. Don't put him on your team. Now that I'm thinking about it.
I was like, well, I'm not gonna do that.
But just the disrespect, dude.
Remember the name.
Is that why they call you Dr. Disrespect?
Bro, stop! I have glaucoma. Yeah, but. Just a name to remember, rookie running back A.J. Dillon.
Remember the name.
Okay, then Devontae Adams. I think you're going to start Devontae Adams, guys.
Dude, you know what Devontae Adams reminds me of? Hansel.
So hot right now.
He is hot. He's looking hot.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer.
So I didn't put these other receivers in here because I didn't have a template for it, but are you starting Marquez Valdez-Scantling or
I'm not messing with either of those guys.
Allen Lazard?
I mean, we assume Lazard's going to be the 2, but it's like, at what target? Sure, I brought it up in the offseason when we were kind of, you could say, like, bickering back and forth between Lazard and Funchess. There was only, like, a handful of games where a receiver outside of Devontae Adams had more than 6 targets. So let's not play that game week 1.
Yeah.
But let's keep an eye out on the snap counts and see what happens for week 2, and then maybe we're talking about one of these guys in a waiver wire ad for week 2.
Yeah.
All right, we can move on to the Vikings. We have Kirk Cousins behind center. Are you playing Kirk Cousins week 1?
Not week 1.
I'm not playing Kirk Cousins week 1.
Yeah. Kirk Cousins all year long is going to be someone we mention on possibly a week-to-week basis. Stream him this week. It's a good matchup and whatnot. But week 1, I'm not. We have better options.
Yeah, I could see the under in this game potentially. Aaron Rodgers. Not a ton of pass catchers outside of Devontae Adams. The Vikings, they lose Diggs. That's not going to help Kirk Cousins' value when you lose a guy like Diggs.
No, not at all.
All right, we can move on to the next guy. I have these out of order. Sorry. Took me forever to put all these in there. But we got Dalvin Cook. I think you're starting Dalvin Cook, no?
That's a tough call.
Okay. Yeah.
Sorry,
and then Alexander Madison, keep him on your bench. Stash him, though.
If he's there on the waiver wire and you have some of these like known name guys, grab him because he's someone that has to be owned due to the injury risk and the COVID risk and all that and the contract risk and every other risk. Just
if I'm a Dalvin Cook owner, you better have him to handcuff him.
Yeah, and if he's there, just throw him on your thing. And if you're listening to this right now, the waivers are over, so you should be able to just add him to your team unless someone literally just dropped him. So, all right, then we can move on to Adam Thielen. I think it's pretty easy on that one.
I like it.
Yeah, you're starting Adam Thielen, yes?
Oh, yeah. Guy could lead the league in targets.
Yeah, he could leave the league in targets.
He could leave the league.
Was that your bold prediction?
We got Tajay Sharp. Are you starting Tajay Sharp in here? Or are you just sticking with the theme of today's episode, not getting cute?
I am sharp.
Why is everyone so fucking stupid?
No, you're not starting Tajay Sharp. Next.
All right. And Justin Jefferson.
Intrigued by his role in this matchup, but not starting him.
Yeah, he's a guy, just going forward, we'll see how much he gets utilized in the offense. Right now, he's listed as the number 3 wide receiver behind B.C. Johnson. In terms of who's better, B.C. Johnson or Justin Jefferson, I'm going to say Justin Jefferson, but I think he's just a rookie. He's still kind of going through those growing pains and stuff like that. So halfway through the year, we could see a situation where we just kind of see an emergence of Justin Jefferson, and he could be a hot waiver wire guy.
Yeah, I mean, usually the rookies come on slow in general. Generally speaking, on a normal year, this isn't a normal year, so it could be even a lot of these guys who did get somewhat drafted might have a small role in the beginning. And then maybe weeks 6 and 7, it's like a rookie rush of just all these guys starting to get playing time and starting to not break out, but be usable pieces in a sense in these offenses. So just a name to monitor. If you don't know the name, know it.
Yeah, know it. Sound like
sneaky.
Kyle Rudolph. It's gonna be a no for me, dog.
It's a no for me, but he's someone that's kind of interesting for me on the year long going forward. There was a lot of stats when Stephon Diggs was out, and the correlation with how Kyle Rudolph produced when he was out, or Adam Thielen, vice versa. So not starting him week 1, but he's someone I'm kind of eyeing and seeing what happens in week 1, and potentially if I'm thin at tight end, he might be someone I add or pick up.
Yeah, it's gonna be a no from me, dog.
I put the camera to you. All right,
we need that Randy Jackson.
Randy Jackson, yeah.
You need his drop.
That's gonna be a no for me, dog. Man, I loved it. I loved the song. I loved everything. But that's gonna be a no for me, dog. Irv Smith Jr., Randy Jackson.
Yeah, Randy Jackson. Just another guy to keep an eye on because, potentially going forward, they drafted him in the first round 2 years ago out of Alabama. Just another guy who's kind of an oversized wide receiver. We could potentially see a scenario where he breaks out and he's like the second. He's like second in targets on this team behind Adam Thielen.
Yeah. All right, we can go.
You starting either one of those defenses or what? I kind of like the under in it. It kind of sucks for the Vikings. I think it's Danielle Hunter, their Pro Bowl defensive end. He got hurt. He's banged up. He might be out for the year. I think it was. So kind of a tough blow for that Vikings defense. They went and got Yannick and Ngake or Goku or whatever. Goku. So still got a decent edge rusher there. But you feel confident playing either one of these defenses, or do you think there's a better streaming option?
Better streaming option. And then, Aaron Rodgers, as much as we're not high on his throwing upside and his overall outlook this year so far, he doesn't turn the ball over. So and they have a good ground game. So it's like how many turnovers are they going to have a chance to happen in this game? So
this is what I say.
Kirk Cousins pretty last year at least pretty good with the football.
Same.
Turnover, so.
Go pick up the Eagles defense. Speaking of the Eagles, we got the Eagles are taking on the Washington football team. We'll start with the Philadelphia Eagles first. We got Carson Wentz. What's the status? What's the status, boys, with Carson Wentz?
The matchups plus, he's still probably in my top 10 quarterbacks in the week. I can see an option where you have 2 top 10 quarterbacks, though, because Wentz was going really late. But I think majority of leagues are going to be starting him. He still has Dallas Goedert. He still has healthy Deshaun Jackson. Let me tell you something about Deshaun Jackson here. And then Zach Ertz. I'm probably starting Carson Wentz.
Yeah, you got to start. He's kind of a back-end QB1 for me. He's a little banged up already, so I just hope he gets out of the game healthy.
Yeah.
If he drafted, I have 0 shares of Carson Wentz just because he, they lost 2 offensive linemen already. He's kind of ailing. Rager's ailing. Alshon's not there. Miles Sanders already dealing kind of with some injuries here and there. So this whole Eagles offense is just everyone's getting hurt already. So I didn't want my quarterback to. I didn't want to have a quarterback of a team that's kind of falling apart already before the season even started. This is when we should see even more injuries kind of happening the first couple weeks because now you're actually getting some contact in. Like I said, there's no preseason games like that. So I still think you start him, though, because it's a good, like Anthony said, it's a good plus matchup.
Yeah.
He's a back-end QB1.
Yeah, I started falling in love with this value for a minute in, June, and then Eli hit, and I was like, no, but I'm done. The injuries came, and I was like, no más.
Yeah. Last year in week 1 against Washington, he put up 25 points. So if he does that for you, you're happy.
You cool with it. That's a back-end QB1.
All right, well, we can move on to Miles Sanders. What's the status, boys? Are you throwing him in?
You got to.
You got to for the second-round draft price or a third-round price tag you paid on him, right?
Maybe even first in some
Maybe
leagues.
even first, yeah.
Yeah, for a while he's going 9th overall.
Yeah, if he's out there, you got to start him. I think it kind of goes to the point of we made with Cooks earlier is, I don't think they're going to risk their I don't want to say franchise running back, but I don't think they're going to risk this season Miles Sanders in week 1 against a Washington team that they believe probably they could beat if he's not at 100%. So
yeah.
I think if he's out there, do they dial back the workload? Yeah, I think they do. I think for Miles Sanders owner and Boston Scott's out there, you need to grab him. I think if you don't own Miles Sanders and Boston Scott's out there, you need to grab him because if Miles Sanders is out, Boston Scott showed that he's a capable pass catcher, and he will see a pretty good workload in this game against a Washington team, and he could be a pretty sneaky RB2.
Yeah. Like I said, you're dialing up Miles Sanders. Maybe you just temper expectations because, he's probably only going to see about 50% of the snaps. I think the reports are they want to manage his workload. So the ceiling isn't too high, but, the guy's talented, should give you a safe floor. And like Anthony said, Boston Scott could be a sneaky flex guy because I think this is kind of, especially, the Eagles are known for having running back by committees. We could see, a good 50-50 split here. And if you're in a double flex league or maybe you went the 0 running back strategy right there and you have no good running backs, Boston Scott's kind of a sneaky guy. Good little, probably a cheap DFS play too. If you're doing some daily fantasy leagues.
Yeah, last year, just kind of speaking of what we spoke on, is the last 4 games of the season targets for Boston Scott. Last 4 games of the season, 6, 7, 6, 6. So he was targeted at least 6 times in the last 4 games of the season. I believe they were both top 24 running backs in the last 4 games of the season.
Yeah, like you said, go get him because I feel like he's a name that most people don't know or most people aren't paying attention to, especially with all the Miles Sanders hype of, he's going to be our guy, he's going to be our workhorse this year.
CMC.
So he's probably available on some good waiver wires out there. And if he's there, like you said, go grab him now. Like I always say, you want to be a week early instead of a week late because you get him for free now. If they have a blow-up game, when waivers come around on Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever it may be, he's not going to be free anymore. You're going to have to put in some fab or your waiver priority. Maybe you have a bottom waiver priority. So, yeah, go out and get him now if he's there, and then you can jump the gun.
I like it. All right, well, we can move on to Deshaun Jackson. What do you guys think?
I like him as a flex wide receiver. He's got a lot of upside in this matchup. So
Tyler grabbed him in the last round of our draft.
Yeah,
slipped past everybody.
I like it this week. With limited options outside of the tight ends, I like it this week. I think it's a high upside flex play.
Yeah, so just a hashtag interesting stat right here on Deshaun Jackson. He's had 100 or more receiving yards in his last 3 week 1 games, and he's had 4 touchdowns in those 3 games. Last year, he had the big game against Washington. I think it was like 100-something yards, 140 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So, yeah, give me all the Deshaun Jackson shares. Deshaun Jackson. Give me all the shares of him. Yeah, and dialing him up. I think he's the top 20 wide receiver there. Like I said, you got no Alshon. Rager's supposed to play, but how much does he play? Just because he's listed active, he could be on a limited count, kind of how Cooks was. So how much does he really get incorporated in the offense? Yeah, you got Ertz, you got Goddard, but I think Deshaun Jackson is one of the, he could be a sneaky guy. 100 yards and touchdown is in the realm of possibility.
100 yards and 2-3 touchdowns could be a possibility. Yeah, like you said, it's pretty much him and the Eagles' offensive receiving options. And that's it. Rager's more good news for Carson Wentz than anything.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of the guy, we got Jalen Reagor here. You like that as a sneaky flex option, maybe?
Not in week 1. I mean, we saw what Brandon Cooks got in a limited role, who's a number 2 receiver. I mean, Jalen Reagor might have been the number 2 if he played healthy all camp, but I'm not messing with it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just kind of, positive news that, he had the shoulder injury, that he's going to be active. I think it's just they want him on the roster as part of the 53 active man roster for the game. But yeah, like I need to see it. I need to make sure he doesn't, he's actually on the field, and if he's available on the waiver wire, like I said, go grab him, because he might have went undrafted in some leagues due to him being hurt and them saying he's going to be out, 4 or 5 weeks or whatever it was.
Yep, or someone might have dropped him even.
Yeah.
Okay, we can move on to the next one. We got Alshon Jeffrey. He's out, right?
He's out.
He's out. I just threw the thing out there just in case if anybody somehow
Yeah.
knows. Zach Ertz, you're starting Zach Ertz.
Yes.
This is an ideal matchup.
There was no fucking flub.
No fucking flub, bro. Put him in your goddamn lineup, bro. Hey, suck it to ya. What about Dallas Goedert?
I mean, I'm not necessarily mad at it. If
you playing a son of a gun.
It's a plus matchup. All we really know is Deshaun Jackson and Zach Ertz. If Miles Sanders is out, that even makes me even more interested with it. I know it sounds weird because he's the tight end 2 on the team, but I mean, 5 or more targets from week 10 on last year. So we always say if a tight end's going to actually get 5 targets in a game, that's something where it's there's some value there. So I'm not mad at it. I mean, I don't know your tight end situation on the teams, but I could see a scenario where you're starting Zach Ertz. Not Zach Ertz, Dallas Goedert.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure who drafted Goddard to be their tight end 1, but I mean, the guy finished as a top 12 tight end last year, with all these Eagles wide receivers being banged up. What do you know? We're headed into the 2020 season, and all these Eagles wide receivers are banged up again. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't know who actually went out there and drafted Dallas Goedert to be their starting tight end. Maybe you just waited on tight end to the very end. You kept getting snaked. You just, kept seeing better values at the other positions, so you kind of waited on the very end. So maybe now you got a guy like a Gesicki and a Goddard, and you're just like, oh, I'll play the matchups. Maybe you got a guy like, I don't know, Goddard and Eric Ebron or something like that.
What about? Sorry, go ahead. I was going to give you Austin Hooper against Baltimore or Dallas Goedert.
Yeah, something like that. I'd go Goddard because, like you said, I think Goddard. They're going to run a lot of 12 personnel, which is 2 tight ends on the field, so he should be on the field a ton. Him and Ertz, and the passing attack should run through Goddard, Ertz, and Deshaun Jackson in this game.
And that's a tough matchup. And there were people who were taking Austin Hooper as their number 1 tight end that could have that scenario, or could see Dallas Goedert on the waiver wire. So I just wanted to bring that one up because that was one where I could see a scenario that a possibility of.
Yeah.
Okay, we can move on to the Washington
Eagles defense or what?
I think I have in 3 leagues.
So that's my bad. That's my defensive stream of the week is the Eagles defense. Dude, I think it's Dwayne Haskins supposed to be the starter.
You got to make a drop. Mr. Miyagi, stream of the week.
Mr. Miyagi, stream of the week.
And have some
Eagles defense. No, but truly though, I drafted the Eagles defense in almost every league if the Colts defense wasn't there. But Eagles defense is barely owned in any leagues. And if you're just if you're like me and you like to stream defenses and it's almost fun, it actually helps with my sports betting, to be honest. Yeah, fucking throw them in there, dude. I think number 1 defense week 1.
Yeah, I'm not mad at it.
You heard it here first.
Definitely like the Eagles defense as just a weekly streaming option.
Especially if this next guy's in the lineup.
Yes. Let's move on to the next guy. We got Washington football teams.
So how many points
Dwayne
does he
Haskins.
get the Eagles defense? 10 over or under? I'm going to go with over.
Yeah, you're not playing Dwayne Haskins. I got to make a new template for that.
Yeah, it's okay. You're just super racist, dude.
Against his own kind.
I made a new template for that guy though.
Yeah, I'm trying to make you get fired. I'm trying to get you fired, dude. We're canceling you. Antonio Gibson. This is hard, dude. It's hard, man, because it's like I have Antonio Gibson in some leagues, and it's like, luckily I drafted him kind of later, so I have different options. So I'm probably not going to start him in week 1, but I feel like there's some people that drafted him pretty early, and they might be this might be their RB2 or,
I have a situation like that.
Yeah, so, like, are you starting him then?
Yeah, I mean, I know I just spoke about don't be cute, but, I mean, we're looking at who's ahead of him. J.D. McKissick, who has 88 career carries. So it's like it's not like AP is there and I have to worry about, okay, the AP could see, let's just say they carry the ball 20 times for numbers. AP could see 13 of those 20, and Antonio Gibson might get 7. It's like, just J.D. McKissick isn't gonna carry the ball 15 times. He's gonna see it 5 times. I think worst case scenario is gonna be a 50-50 carry, and then we know Antonio Gibson can do work in the passing game as well. So I'm still firing up as RB2 in this matchup. Do I think he's got RB1, upside in week 1? Probably not, but I still think he's got RB2 type of volume.
Yeah, I mean, depending on how deep you are at running back, I mean, if he's your third or fourth running back, you might not need to start him. But like you said, if there's a scenario where you have a good RB1 and now you're kind of debating my RB2, who should I play? I mean, a guy like Ronald Jones or Antonio Gibson, a guy like Jordan Howard or Antonio Gibson. I'm going to Antonio Gibson all day at the end of the day. I mean, all the reports out of camp were it was AP and Antonio Gibson working with the 1s, and then you had McKissick and Bryce Love kind of working with the 2s and 3s. Obviously, McKissick, he's more of like the pass-catching kind of, scat back. But, I mean, Antonio Gibson is a very capable pass catcher. He actually he played that in college.
Receiver.
Yeah, he played receiver in college. And the Eagles' defense, they were actually bottom 10 in terms of allowing targets and receptions to the running backs. And the new offensive coordinator, Scott Turner, he likes to throw to the running backs. That's Norv Turner's son. And if we've seen anything about what Norv Turner does, he has this guy named Christian McCaffrey on his team. And I know it's Christian McCaffrey, so he's obviously going to get more targets and receptions than your average running back. But like I said, Antonio Gibson is a receiving running back. He played receiver. So, and at the end of the day, the Washington football team, you want your best players on the field to help you win this game. And Antonio Gibson is just a better football player than McKissick. He's a better football player than Bryce Love, Peyton Barber. So, yeah, I think he's out there at least 50% of the snaps.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I was over here connecting dots. Yeah. It's like he saw me. I was like, I
thought you were miming.
That dot.
It was funny because I saw you doing that, and then on the highlight reel, someone put their hand up in front of the camera. So I thought it was your hand. I was super confused. But, okay, Antonio Gibson, it's safe to start him, I suppose. J.D. McKissick? No.
Kiss this.
Terry McLaurin, I actually don't mind. I think you got to start Terry McLaurin, no?
Yeah, he's a wide receiver 2-3. I mean, he did go kind of somewhat late in some drafts, so I could see a scenario where you do have 2 studs. Maybe you got a receiver in rounds 3 or 4. But I mean, I'd say for the most part, you're probably flexing him, or he's your wide receiver too in a lot of scenarios. So I know Darius Slay is in Philadelphia now, but last year against them, he went 5 for 70 yards, and I can't remember if he had a touchdown or not. But it's still a decent game, and he's talented. He's gonna see majority of the targets.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have a lot of shares. I have actually 0 shares of Terry McLaurin. It's not that I don't think he's talented. It's just more of like who's throwing him the football. Especially for where he was being drafted, in the 5th round, give or take. There's some of the guys there like DJ Chark. I can't remember. Just other guys that I felt more comfortable with their upside. And at the end of the day, it came out who's throwing those guys the football. And, just having a guy like Dwayne Haskins throw you the football, it doesn't spark any confidence in him, no matter how good Terry McLaurin is. The guy's still got to, if the football's not catchable, it doesn't matter how open he is. With that being said, I mean, I think he's kind of a low-end wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3. It does worry me with Slay here. It does worry me with Dwayne Haskins. But like I said, the guy's super talented. I think Darius Slay came out and said that, out of all the guys that he's covered, it was Keenan Allen who's been the toughest to guard, and then Terry McLaurin was the second hardest guy to cover for him. So that's some high praise from the guy who's going to be covering him on Sunday. So, yeah, you're still starting him, but I would maybe just say temper expectations. Like, if he doesn't come out and have, like, a monster game, it's because he's got a guy like Darius Slay on him. And if I'm the Eagles defense, I'm literally just doubling him. It's like, who else? I'm not really scared of anyone else on this Washington team. But, yeah, these are my thoughts on that.
Interesting. No.
Yeah.
I just threw everything.
It's an interesting guy just to keep an eye on. I think
Antonio Gandy Golden for audio listeners.
Antonio Gandy Golden out of Liberty. He's a rookie. Just some good tape on him. This guy who I personally thought was pretty talented. Came out of a smaller school, Liberty University. But yeah, just a name to keep an eye on.
Keep your eye on this name. Okay, well,
it's Steven Sims too. I don't think I have a template.
Yeah, we don't have a template for it.
Just another name to know.
Another name, yeah. Steven Sims had a hot stretch down the down the end.
Like Hansel.
He had like 5. So what was his targets down the end? Do you have it there?
I got you, baby. Don't worry
if you got a roster spot with garbage on it, maybe throw Steven Sims off the waiver if he's there.
Yeah, so Steven Sims was kind of my, we did some like who's going to be your week 1 darling or your week 1 waiver wire guy that blows up. And I think since Slay is going to be shadowing Terry McLaurin, obviously that leaves the lesser corner on a guy like Steven Sims, a guy who runs a 4.35. And just watching the highlights on the guy, I mean, the guy, his ability to run and change directions, like he loses 0 speed. His ability just to cut and go, it was wild. But I mean, what were his targets down the stretch?
I got you, baby. 7, 11, 10, and 8. That's the last 4 weeks.
That's pretty good. I mean, and he's going to be the number 2 on this offense going forward. And like I said, the guy's got blazing speed. He had some pretty monster games down the stretch. So, yeah, a guy that if you have a roster spot, I would go out and I'd stash him and just hold on to him because, like I said, if he blows up this week, he's going to be a hot waiver wire name. And if you just have him now, you get him for free.
Especially for a team that third and outs a lot. That's a decent amount of targets. You're not starting a tight end there. But we can move on to the next game. We got the Browns are taking on the Baltimore Lamar Jacksons.
The Hulu Baker Mayfields.
Yeah, so we're going to start with the Browns. We got Baker Mayfield. This is Tyler's boy for some reason. And are you starting Baker?
I feel like you just took a jab at him.
I just hate Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, I do like
Baker. I
Baker.
don't think he's good.
I do like Baker. I think he's due for like a bounce back year. I think in the Stefanski offense, he's going to do a lot better than he did last year in Freddie Kitchens' offense. Just the way they run. I mean, they boosted the line up. They got the first round tackle from Alabama. They get Conklin from the Titans, the right tackle, one of the best free agents in free agency this year. So yeah, this offensive line is going to be really good. They run a lot of play action. So I think Baker's going to be really good with that run game and going off play action. I mean, you got weapons across the field, Odell, Landry, Hooper, and Njoku, even, Hunt and Chubb out of the backfield. But I'm not starting him this game. Tough game right here against the Ravens.
That's a hard matchup.
There's a lot of other quarterbacks that I'd be willing to stream. Like I said, I was high on Baker, but I was high on him as like a double quarterback where you match up base your quarterbacks throughout the year. And this would be a scenario where if you had like a Baker and a Big Ben potentially, I'm going Big Ben all day over Baker. This would be a sit for me for Baker.
I can't even believe you pose that question, dude. Yeah, don't play Baker. Cream Hunt. Oh, dude, I got these all out of order.
You throw me off sometimes.
Sometimes it goes in order. You can just go straight
to him. Because, even though he has a tough matchup, you're still starting Nick Chubb.
Nick Chubb, you're starting him. Yeah. Cream Hunt. Are you starting Cream Hunt? I think you could throw him in your flex possibly, but it's not the most ideal matchup.
Yeah, it's not the most ideal matchup. It's probably he's probably your RB3 more than likely. So I'm probably going to try and find a wide receiver this week that I could flex over Hunt if I have that option, if I can. Which I'm sure you do. It's week 1. I feel like you have to have 2 receivers and 2 running backs. Then it was probably Hunt that you took. I mean, if he's your RB2, I guess I'm still okay with it because I think he does offer some PPR safety or floor safety. So that's what it is. But I'm probably going to try and get away from Hunt if I can in this matchup in particular. Not season long, but in this matchup.
Yeah, like they said, I mean, if he's your second running back and that's all you really have, then yeah, you're kind of forced to throw him in there. You have nobody else. But if not, I kind of want to wait and see how this backfield gets split up. Obviously, last year when in Freddie Kitchens' offense, as soon as Hunt came in, the splits, the targets, everything changed between him and Hunt. Chubb and Hunt. So, yeah, I'm a little curious to see how now with Stefanski calling the shots there, how Hunt is utilized. Does he line up in the slot a lot? Are we going to see a lot of, Hunt and Chubb on the field at the same time? So, yeah, if I don't have to start him, I don't want to because it's a tough matchup, and I want to see how, this offense is going to be rolling and working. This is kind of one of those scenarios where not having preseason, it kind of hurt us, because maybe in seeing preseason, we could have seen a little bit of how this offense is going to run.
Yeah, my hunt. Every time I see his name, I'm sorry. I can't help myself.
Listen, I'm just sick of everybody talking about this new coach that's going to come in and change everything in the Cleveland locker room, and everything's going to be great. I'll believe it when I see it.
I mean, you've been saying it for a while. It's been true.
Yeah.
I ain't mad at you.
You haven't not been wrong.
Jarvis Landry. Are you starting Jarvis Landry?
Let me ask you this. So I have Landry. He's my
asking for a friend.
Fourth receiver. Well, he's my 4th receiver. We're in a double flex league, so he's my 4th receiver. It's full point PPR. Like I said, I'm not going to get cute. I know he's coming off the hip injury. Obviously, if he's my 4th receiver, maybe I wouldn't start him if I was in a single, it's just a single flex league. This is a double flex league here. Or, maybe if you're in a 3 wide receiver league. I feel comfortable throwing him out there. Are you a little concerned with the hip injury that maybe he doesn't perform? Or is it more of like a standard? You're not playing him, PPR, you are?
Half in standard, no. I do want to kind of see what this offense looks like week 1. And, I mean, if they're running more 2 wide receiver sets, I think that hurts Landry if he's 90% of Landry because he's not that outside type of receiver. He's more of in the slot.
Yeah.
He can't play the outside. I'm not saying he can't, but he's more of the slot. Quickness, get open in the zones and all that. So for me, like you said, you already have him as your wide receiver 4. So I'm going to probably stand pat and say no week 1, especially if this is a lower scoring game I don't know if they're going to hold Lamar Jackson, but if the Browns are a lower scoring point total this week, I mean, let's just say they go out and score 13 points. I mean, I don't know if Landry's going to get in the end zone in that game, and if it's only like 5 for 45 or something like that, I'm probably going to stay clear this week. Season long, that's a different story, but the week 1, I want to see how he looks. I want to see, like you said, it's a situation where preseason we have no idea of what what he's going to look like. When Emmanuel Sanders tore his Achilles like 2 years ago and he came out and looked good, like we were like, oh, like he looks fresh. So we liked him. We like taking him in like later. It's like we have nothing to go off of with these players. So it's hard for me to week 1, trust that they're at game speed at 100%, if that makes sense.
So I'm in a similar situation, Tyler, because I started Brandon Cooks. I'm in a double flex league. I threw Brandon Cooks in my wide receiver position just in case if somebody was injured. But so I'm in that double flex, and I'm thinking about, this sounds kind of crazy, I'm thinking about playing Robbie Anderson over Jarvis Landry. Just for the potential upside, high ceiling against the Raiders defense, I might be doing it. So
I mean, I don't think that's crazy at all. I mean, like you said, you're kind of, Brandon Cooks, like I said, Brandon Cooks was a high risk, high reward. He's either going to put up a boom or a bust game with how, he was dealing with the quad injury. So now you're kind of like, okay, like a Landry, he might be able to give me a safe floor of like 10, PPR, but could he get me a 25 burger? Like, probably not. More likely, he's probably not going to get you 25 points. But could Robbie Anderson come out and have this crazy game where, Robbie Anderson's those guys where he only needs 3 catches. He gets you 130 yards and 2 touchdowns potentially. So, on some crazy, he's a deep threat. Obviously, he's part of that offense. He played college for that coach in Carolina. So, yeah, I don't think that's crazy. For me with Landry, I think he's like a wide receiver 3 flex guy right here, depending on your depth at receiver or your depth at running back to throw into a flex. Like I said, we're in a double flex league, so I'm playing him, especially because I'm a Juice fan. That's my boy right there. But, yeah, I still think he's a wide receiver 3. It's kind of a scenario, like I said, if he wasn't healthy, if the hip wasn't good, I don't think they'd be risking one of their best playmakers or their wide receiver 1 because Odell's the wide receiver 2.
I mean, it is a division game.
He likes number 2s on him.
I mean, it's a division game, and it's against the arguably the number 1 team in this division, which is crazy coming from me saying that. So it's like I'm going to throw all my weapons out there. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even if they're not.
Landry's one of those guys where he's rowdy. He's like he's a competitor. And I don't think Landry would be out there if he wasn't 100%. And he's like I said, PPR it's a lot better because you get that full point, half point. Like I said, I still feel like a wide receiver 3 flex guy depending on your depth. Standard is a little different because he doesn't have a high touchdown upside.
But I'm saying is that they would put him out there if he's still a little bit injured because they need to win division games. I know it's the first week of the season.
You want to risk hurting arguably your best receiver in the first week if he's not 100%. I mean, all the reports have been that he's been doing pretty well.
Houston did it last night.
It's not that Cooks wasn't 100%. I think it's more like, hey, we're getting blown out. There's no reason to throw you out there for you to potentially re-aggravate it because especially soft tissue injuries at any given moment, a sprint, an accelerator, anything can do it. So
yeah, I'm probably staying clear. I just want to see if he's 100%. I mean, the ceiling is. Even with Landry, his ceiling generally isn't high on a week-to-week basis against the Ravens. I don't know what his speed's going to be on the field. I'm not saying he's not healthy because I believe he is.
You're talking about the wide receiver 13 in PPR, bro.
Yeah, but that's it's a wide receiver 13 and getting like 8, 13. It's not like he has these massive blow-up games. And against the Ravens, I'm staying clear.
That's not good.
We're talking about wide receiver 13. How about wide receiver number 13? Odell Beckham Jr. We don't have any stocks of Odell Beckham Jr. I think between any of us, but if you do somehow, what are you going to start him or?
I mean, yeah, you're starting him, right?
You have to start
Odell to set him on your bench, did you?
I mean, no, but Yeah.
Odell's just dead to me. I know this is like fantasy. You can't have emotions. You can't be playing of what he did last year. It's what
But
you do now,
Tyler's changing the rules.
But
For
yeah,
this game.
he's dead to me. But if you drafted Odell, you're not sitting him. Especially like you said, if Landry's not 100% with the hip and whatnot. I mean, then you're gonna lean on Odell a lot.
Bro, you just gave me fucking bunny ears, dog.
Yeah,
All right, let's move on to we got Austin Hooper. Are you playing Austin Hooper? I think if he drafted him,
Odell was like, "Ooh, Austin Hooper, the poopa,
The
scoopa?"
Poopas? Austin
He
Pooper.
was so hyped about that.
Deion Sanders hella defended Odell. I don't know if you saw that, but it's pretty funny. I mean, I don't have shares of Austin Hooper, but if I did, I probably would be starting him, I guess. But just at where you drafted him, I don't know.
I mean, I'm not starting Hooper. The Ravens defense, they actually gave up the fewest points to tight ends last season. And, I know they're going to be running a lot of double tight ends out there in 12 personnel. So, I mean, you got him, you got Njoku. I think the Browns, one thing watching this, they actually beat the Ravens in Baltimore last year. And the way they did that is they just ground and pound. I mean, they were running all over them with Chubb. So, and I think they kind of try to stick to that game script. You want to, for me personally, you want to have Baker throw the ball probably as least as possible. So, if Landry's there, he's going to get his targets. Odell's going to get his targets. How many targets are really going to go around to the tight ends and running backs? I don't know. So I'm fading Hooper.
You know what I'm also fading is the Browns defense. I'm fading the Browns defense week 1.
Yeah, agree.
Don't start them.
Yeah, agreed.
Unless, I don't know. Yeah, don't do it.
Wait, do you get points if Myles Garrett hits your quarterback in the head with the helmet?
Dude, it's
You automatically win.
listen,
Bonus.
dude, he's not on our team anymore. We just got Josh Dobbs. All right. We got him back.
You cut him, though?
We cut him. He went to Jaguars, and we said, hey, you know what? We made a mistake. Come on back.
Come on back.
We got these other guys, and they're not very good. Come on back. All right. But let's Lamar Jackson, you're starting.
Yeah.
It's pretty obvious. Mark Ingram, are you starting?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Down at Mark Ingram.
J.K. Dobbins. This is a question here. I think you're going to sit and wait. That's my opinion. What do you guys think?
Agree.
Agree.
Yeah. I think you're gonna sit and wait on this one. I mean, he's, arguably going forward, could we see him kind of take over and take the reins?
Sure.
But I think for week 1, I think you're gonna see a lot of Mark Ingram.
Safe to say you're going to stay
year.
in my fucking bench. All right, dude. Sorry, J.K. J.K. No, J.K.
J.K. Rollins.
Marquise Brown. I think you could start Marquise Brown,
Yeah, you
huh?
can start Marquise Brown.
I mean, yeah, you got to.
You
for-
got to.
for the upside of what he's capable of. I mean, a lot of people are expecting Marquise Brown to have like this. What would you call it? Like a DJ Chark kind of second-year blow-up. In a
I would say
sense.
Tyreek Hill light would be the comp, is where it's like he's got that. He's got that ups. I think I got him in one league, and I was like, I just wanted one share of him because of the upside of what he could potentially be with the full healthy offseason, and a full offseason and being on a lot higher snap percentage this year. So, you drafted him as probably, he kind of went as like a flex wide receiver though. So, dual wide receiver, like flex leagues like that, that's where I love starting him in week 1 because he could go out there and blow up again in week 1.
Yeah.
Like he did against Miami last year.
I mean, he's the wide receiver 2 from the MVP. He's got him throwing the ball because the wide receiver 1 is this next guy. Oh, that's not him.
Oh, that's not him.
Now, Devin Duvernay, we just touched on him for a second because Devin the dude Duvernay, that's my dude. I just think it's a name to keep an eye on. I mean, this guy right here is basically Jarvis Landry 2.0 to me. I mean, over 100 catches last year in the Big 12. I mean, the highest graded wide receiver in the Big 12. Just, a sure-handed guy, and when he gets the ball, he's tough to tackle. His ability to make forced missed tackles, is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Is really good. He's good. I think Devin Duvernay is really good. He's going to be a name to just keep an eye on going forward. And then if something for Marquise Brown, obviously not the biggest guy. If something was to happen to Marquise Brown, I think we could see a lot of Devin Duvernay.
And then also another name, James Prochet.
James, yeah, Dre would want to know about.
Yeah,
James
so.
Prochet. But
It's just
Devin the dude.
Yeah, Devin the dude. Okay.
He's that dude.
Speaking of wide receiver 1, also known as tight end 1, we got Mark Andrews.
Starting him.
You're starting him. That's pretty simple there. Then Ravens defense. I think wherever you drafted him, you're going to start that.
Yeah, you probably drafted the Ravens defense as one of the, I would say probably
top
top 5
at least.
So.
Yeah, if you miss the Steelers
I would say temper
defense.
expectations just because the Browns' offensive line is a little bit better, and maybe if they try to ground and pound and they try to limit Baker's, maybe Baker only throws the ball 22 times or something like that, then the cause for more sacks, interceptions potentially. If they're just ground and pounding, then, maybe it's not a high ceiling for this defense. but it's not. They can't be a bust. I would actually stream this next defense.
All right, we got the Colts playing in Jacksonville. Oh boy, poor Jacksonville. But we'll start on the Colts side of the ball. We got Philip Rivers throwing the ball. I think if you're streaming quarterbacks, Philip Rivers available, I'd like it actually.
I don't hate it if you're streaming. If you're in the situation where I guess I didn't know this actually until you brought it up. What's that game? The 49ers and Cardinals game could get potentially like postponed.
Yeah.
I mean, he's someone I might grab as an insurance policy.
Yeah, if you have like a Kyler Murray or somehow have a Jimmy Garoppolo.
Not nice.
No, but if you have Kyler Murray and they don't play that game for sure, definitely.
Yeah. That's a name like you said, streaming. I would maybe like I don't know how thin your waiver wire is. Some waiver wires are very thin at quarterback because some teams carry 2 or 3 week 1, which I don't know why some teams have 3 quarterbacks, but they do. That's a name I'm not mad at. I fucks with it.
He'd be like maybe if you're in a super flex league or a double quarterback league, I take a shot on Rivers here. The Jaguars defense in terms of like rushing defense was amongst the worst in the NFL. They gave up the most yards. They gave up the second most rushing touchdowns. But they got some pretty decent corners. I think his name's DJ Hayden. They go out and they draft a rookie from Florida. Forget what his name is, like AJ Terrell or AJ Herndon or something like that. So some pretty good corners. But like I said, where you can really gut the Jaguars is on the ground. So I think maybe you see a heavy workload from Marlon Mack and Jonathan Taylor. Maybe Rivers doesn't have to throw the ball a ton. Maybe he only gets you like 202, and that's good enough because they're just grounding and pounding. I think there's some higher ceiling option guys to potentially throw out throughout the week. But I think he's got a safe floor. Like I said, QB2 or super flex quarterback. Nope.
Oops.
Oh, how did that get in there?
Breaking news.
Breaking news. Sam Darnold has been traded to the Colts.
Reset, sorry.
So next we got. We'll just jump into it.
Yeah, you can go into it.
You got the running backs, Marlon Mack and Jonathan Taylor. I mean, in this kind of matchup, but like I said, I feel like you could play them both.
Yeah, I think you can play them both. Like I just said, the Jaguars' run defense is one of the worst in the league, and they lost a ton of defensive players. They got a couple rookies, but I mean. I think you're down on both these guys. I think you see a true 50-50 split here. And even if it's more of like a 60-40 split, Marlon Mack, Jonathan Taylor is one of those guys where he's got blazing speed, and all he needs is one hole, and he's gone for 50, 60, 70 yards. And, he might only get you 10 carries, but he might get you 10 carries for 80 yards and a touchdown. Yeah, I agree.
He agrees. And then we got T.Y. Hilton. I mean, you're starting T.Y. Hilton. So
yeah, start T.Y. Hilton.
5.
This is a juicy matchup. So are you going to start Paris Campbell or Zach Pascal or Michael Pittman Jr.? Obviously, I don't think you're starting Zach Pascal, but I'm keeping Michael Pittman on my bench, so I'm just going to see with that one. But it is an ideal matchup for one of these guys.
I mean, yeah, I think Paris Campbell, Michael Pittman Jr., those guys are, they're worthy of a bench spot. Obviously, I'm pretty high on Michael Pittman. I think we all are actually pretty high on Michael Pittman. I know even Paris Campbell, we're all pretty high on. I know Dre really likes Paris Campbell. But they're like bench guys right now. Stash them, see the role in the offense, see what it is going forward. But like I said, in a game where they could, maybe Rivers doesn't have to throw a ton because, they're just running the ball down their throat, the upside maybe is not there. So, yeah, like I'm not getting cute. It's week 1. It's T.Y., and that's it.
Yeah. You are worthy of a bench spot.
Yeah. All right. We can move on to.
What about Jack Doyle?
Oh yeah, that's what I was trying to add in there. Is I don't have Jack Doyle's. I think that actually it's a sneaky tight end play. Maybe if you have
sneaky.
If you have George Kittle and he's out, you don't have his back.
Why would you say that, dude?
I'm not mad at that.
No. I'm saying like from the fire.
Yeah.
Well, they're talking about postponing the game to like Monday night or moving stadiums.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if they're going to cancel the game altogether, but. Well, what about this? Dallas Goedert or Jack Doyle?
Oh, it's easy. Goddard.
Yeah.
Jack Doyle or Gesicki?
Yeah, I'm going to go Gesicki.
You didn't sound too confident.
I'm still,
he said,
listen, Audacity barely registered.
I'm still not. I still have my guard a little bit on Gesicki.
Yeah. That's interesting. Doyle, I mean, like you said, we've seen Rivers, his years with Antonio Gates, even Hunter Henry, getting targeted when he's on the field at least. So Jack Doyle's there. Trey Burton's on IR for the first 3 games. Jack Doyle's been, when Andrew Luck was there, he was a decent little tight end. He's always a decent red zone threat when they get in close. So
I think it's more the matchup where I'm kind of on your side of it, where I don't think they really have to go in and throw the ball a ton. So that's what if they were playing maybe like another team where I could see this potentially being more of a shootout, then I would say Doyle probably over both those options. But I do think it's more Jonathan Taylor, Marlon Mack. We run it down their throat, and
there's probably 12 better starting options.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. All right. Okay, we go on to the Jaguars. We got Gardner Minshew. I'm good on playing Gardner Minshew. I do like Gardner Minshew. I think there's going to be a lot of game scripts where he's a great stream. He's going to be down in a lot of games, a lot of garbage time points, but I think in this game he might throw. I know he didn't have very many interceptions last year, but I think he might throw a decent amount. Okay, throw a couple at least.
Yeah, I mean, I everything you said is dead on. I like him long term, but week 1 it's a really tough matchup, and
I think you're gonna,
new offense. So I'm gonna stay away week 1.
I'm pegging him for not his best game.
Dude, you can't peg me.
I think right now he's kind of a QB2 super flex option. Like I said with Rivers, I think he actually outscores Rivers in this one because he is going to be chasing, and they're going to be throwing a lot. And obviously he offers that rushing upside. Rivers doesn't offer the rushing upside. Minshew can get you 30, 40 yards on the ground. And, the crazy stat was, he had I think it was 400 rushing yards last year. He had zero rushing touchdowns, which is kind of crazy for a quarterback to have that many rushing yards and not get into the end zone. So, I mean, he offers that weekly safe floor of 30 to 40 rushing yards. I think, obviously the rushing touchdowns should fall back to the regression to the mean. And then, like I said, they're going to be chasing a lot. So, a sneaky DFS play, too. He's probably dirt cheap on, DraftKings and stuff like that. But, yeah, I'm mad at Minshew, Doug.
I'm not mad at Minshew.
I'm not mad at it long term. But, okay, we're going. James Robinson. Listen, I think if you picked up any of these running backs here, James Robinson's supposed to be the starter. And they said he can handle a workload, but I think if I'm going to play any running back here, I'm playing Chris Thompson. I think if you agree with me on that one. I don't even have a template for it.
I think I'm Chris Thompson in a PPR double flex only, and outside of that, I'm not trusting anyone week 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not starting James Robinson. I don't even want him on my bench because who knows once Armstead gets back? Who knows with Zigbo when he gets back too? Because he's banged up too, right? Zigbo.
Yeah.
So, once those guys get back, who knows? It's either Chris Thompson or not. You should have a Chris Thompson template.
Yeah, it's a whole thing.
Dude,
sorry.
Actually, low-key, I thought you were Gardner Minshew
But Chris Thompson, but I said it. I mean, Chris Thompson, I think if you're going to play any running back on Jaguars, it's Chris Thompson's a good spot.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, I love Chris Thompson in this matchup because, like I said, I do think they're behind. I do think they're chasing. And if there's a pass-catching running back, it's Chris Thompson. And the game script sets up perfect for him right here. The Colts actually gave up the most receptions to running backs last year. And, I mean, Chris Thompson's Jay Gruden's guy. And we've seen Chris Thompson, when he's out there on the field, he'll get you 5, 6, 7 receptions, and he's elusive out there. Well, he might get you 5 or 6 carries. Obviously, James Robinson is going to be the goal line back most likely. He'll probably be the guy who sees, the 12 to 15 carries. But I think Chris Thompson's a sneaky little PPR guy. I'm actually kind of in a pinch here where I drafted Ronald Jones before the whole Fournette situation. I don't like the matchup with Ronald Jones. I don't know how the game script's going to play out with Fournette. I think Fournette kind of is the goal line back. I have Jordan Howard and Chris Thompson as my depth. I do like Jordan Howard with his volume, but it's kind of a tougher matchup for New England. It's a full-point PPR league. So am I crazy to want to start Chris Thompson over Ronald Jones in this matchup?
Not necessarily. I will say one thing with that stat, though, that you throw out where it's like the Colts, where that changes so much year to year. So just be careful with those type of stats. The Chiefs were top 3 as well, or not Chiefs, but Texans were top 3 in that category too, and they didn't give one pass catching to the running back. So it's like that changes so much year to year. But to your point, I mean, I don't think in a PPR it's unreasonable. He could easily have 5-6 catches in this matchup.
You should do it.
Like I said, I was gonna say I'm probably out on most what's his name, Chris Thompson situations, but that's a situation where I would be in on it.
Yeah,
I'm in.
I'm doing it. Down it up.
Do it.
You want do
full
it.
point
do
PPR.
It.
Full point PPR. I think Chris Thompson
do
is a sneaky play right there.
Do it. Put him in.
It's 10+ points.
10+ points. Put him in. Do it.
I like it.
Okay, you're playing DJ Chark.
Yeah,
That's pretty obvious. Hashtag Avi. Chris Conley.
No, no, I'm not.
Laviska Shenault.
No, I'm not.
Just something to keep an eye on. Laviska Shenault.
It's a little, keep your eye on
One
him.
of those.
What
names.
about your boy Didi?
Hey, Didi.
Hey, Didi.
Sorry, there's some of these templates I couldn't find, but I mean, I'm okay. I think look, I'm playing Colts defense as many leagues as I can that are available, so I'm not gonna get cute. I'm not playing D.D. Westbrook. Sorry.
I wouldn't be surprised though if he had a sneaky good game in like PPR. I mean, if he got you like 5 for 60, I mean it's not sexy, but it's something, But I guess depending on how deep you are, you probably didn't draft D. Westbrook to start him, but
that's better than Brandon Cooks. So.
Yeah. That's better than Brandon Cooks.
Are you starting Jaguars defense?
No, never.
It's no longer Jacksonville Jaguars, guys. Pay attention. All right. Okay, we can move on to our next matchup. We got the Las Vegas Raiders. Hello, they're home. Welcome to the club. They're taking on the Carolina Panthers. It's in Carolina. We'll start with Derek Carr, also known as Sid from Toy Story. Are you playing Derek Carr? You said you were playing him earlier. Who is it?
Over Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah.
Yeah, if I have that situation, I would.
That's gross. I don't like that.
Beer bet? Even though you don't drink?
I do. Yeah, I'm not starting Derek Carr. I don't care. If you have a gun to my head, pull the trigger. Like, I'm just not starting Derek Carr.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not starting Derek Carr. That's gross.
There's got to be better options out there.
Maybe there's not.
Maybe there is.
I'd rather start Jameis Winston, and he's not even a starting quarterback.
Go pick up Phillip Rivers. He's there.
You starting
Ryan Tannehill.
I would start Derek Carr over Phillip Rivers as well.
You starting Derek Carr over Minshew? That's a beer bet.
Well, it's
what is, okay, where do you think Derek Carr
that's a tough one because it's like Minshew has the rushing upside. They can keep the floor safe.
Yeah.
I'd say flip a coin and then go with whatever one.
I just feel like if you even contemplating starting Derek Carr, if you're not like in a 16-team league, then what the fuck did you do in your draft?
Do you hear what he just said? He's asking what you did in your draft, Anthony.
No, I didn't
have any Derek Carr shares. I just don't play. I don't give a fuck who you are. If you're gonna put up points, I'll consider you.
I just draft my favorite players.
Yeah, I do.
Okay, we can move on.
That's why he ends up with Big Ben over here.
Me too.
And I did.
We can move on to Josh Jacobs. You're gonna start him. Put him in your lineup.
Josh Jacobs. You think Jacobs got top 5 potential? You think he finishes top 5?
Yeah, very.
I didn't do rankings, but I had him at 5 actually.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
I didn't get. I was too busy. I couldn't finish mine.
So I didn't do the rankings, but yeah, he's at 5.
I'll save it before the season starts. Well, I got like my top 15 roughly done, but I couldn't finish the back half.
Just funny.
Jacobs a savage, dude.
Yeah, you gotta play him,
especially because he's like our home team guy now. Yeah. Like, how could you not,
dude?
And
he's a double J.
I don't care. I don't care.
I don't like him if he's a triple J. Josh Jacobs Jr.
Yeah, there we go. Let's give him last.
Junior. Okay, you're playing him though. Henry Ruggs.
Not week 1.
No.
See, I think Henry Ruggs is a guy. If you said you feel comfortable throwing to the car, it's like, who's he going to throw the ball to? Darren Waller gets his catches. Then, I mean, someone's got to catch the ball. And Ruggs is he's the speedster where, he's not just a straight line speedster. He can run all the routes. He's going to start. So I think if you have Ruggs, maybe, depending on your depth, obviously it's week 1. You obviously didn't draft him to be your guy. But as a wide receiver 3 or a double flex guy, he's a home run guy.
I'm not kidding.
Listen, if someone beats me with Henry Ruggs, I'm gonna be fucking pissed.
Could he have a big game? Yes, but I mean, what combination is it of Hunter Renfrow, Tyler Williams? I mean, Henry Ruggs. What's his name?
Well, Tyrell's out on IR. Brian Edwards. Yeah,
Brian Edwards is what I meant. I mean, what combination is it of those guys? I don't know if I'm not getting week 1.
But if you're saying that Derek Carr, you would start him over Aaron Rodgers, where are the targets going? Who's going to put up some numbers then?
I don't know. That's why I'm not getting cute.
Yeah.
Darren Waller and Josh Jacobs.
I just think if you go out and spend, he was,
Would it surprise you though if Hunter Renfrow and Edwards went out there and got a combined 15 or not 15 targets? Say they got there's 15 receiver targets. They got 12 of them, and Henry Ruggs got 3.
It wouldn't surprise me.
So that's why I'm not doing it.
But I know there's a correlation with like Waller and Renfrow. I think it was when one was on the field, the one was not, or whatever it was. One would get the targets and one wouldn't. But I mean, for them to go on make him the first wide receiver drafted. They chose him over CeeDee Lamb. They chose him over Jerry Jeudy. That has to mean something for them to be like, hey, this is our guy. We're going to incorporate him into the offense. So I think at least wide receiver 3.
This is just my personal opinion. I'm not doing it. You, like I said, that's just me.
I don't have Henry Ruggs, but I think it's not the worst spot to play him. But we can move on to Bryan Edwards. I think they're kind of in the same boat now.
This is Dre's guy right here.
Yeah, bro, he's about to. I'll to give his take. He's about
to
ball. The homie, you should have seen him in college when nobody could make tackles, dude. He balled.
I mean, I think he's a guy, you're probably not starting him, like you said, but to go get him, and if you have an open spot, he's a starting wide receiver on an NFL team. I mean, he's pretty much going to be that Tyrell Williams role is what I'm assuming. And Tyrell Williams wasn't the greatest, but, he had touchdown upside every single week. That was kind of what kept Tyrell Williams afloat for fantasy.
Well, yeah, and there's a lot of hype from Bryan Edwards coming out of camp, actually. So that in mind, I think he's if you have him on your team, I would say wait and see, but I don't know if I'm going to start him.
I mean, this is Dre's guy, and I know we're probably giving him shit like, oh, he said Dre's going to ball. But, I mean, Dre's got a good eye for some talented players.
He does.
I mean, that's why, he's the dynasty guy for us. So, I mean, this is his guy. And, like I said, for him to come out and be a starter, I think he's definitely worth a bench spot and just hold on to him and see what happens.
For sure. There's a lot of question marks without preseason, huh, boys?
Yeah, and that's what makes me like I said, I'm not trying to be like a dick if I'm not starting him. I'm like, I just don't know. So I don't know what the snap percentage is going to be at any one and where the ball's going to even potentially go outside of Waller and Jacobs and the running back. So it's like I just don't want to fuck with it. I really don't.
Yeah.
That's what I learned after the Thursday night.
Wrong with that.
That's what I learned after the Thursday night game. It's like I'm not messing with situations that don't have clarity because I could assume that he was your point could be exactly right. But then it could also, we can go out and see one of these guys see 2 targets. So I just don't want to mess with situations week 1 with no clarity because I don't want it to come back and bite me in the culo.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, well, we can move on to Darren Waller. I think you got to start Darren Waller if you got him. Start him if you got him.
I'm starting to regret that beer bet with Dre. Under 70 receptions.
I know. I was like, can I take the other side? Dude, low-key, when you weren't here, I was like, hey, I took the other side.
Hey, listen, you got to start
me and you
him.
against Tyler.
You got to start him if you got him. All right. We can move on to the Carolina Panthers. We got Teddy Bridgewater.
Starting the Raiders defense or what? Keep skipping these defenses, dude.
So I forget.
Dude, you got to get better. You're the defensive streamer.
Yeah, you might have to just throw in the team template at the very end.
I'll do that.
Yeah, let's get better.
But here's the thing.
Sorry, this is our preseason too.
Listen,
this is our first game of the year.
I'm delusional right now. I'm very tired right now. Okay.
Maybe if you took those
I
off.
wake up so early in the morning because I just I live by the motto early bird gets the worm, and I always get that worm, dude. So that's why I'm tired.
Is worm
right now.
like another term for cigarette and monster?
Listen, dude. My dad listens to this. Okay.
I'm gonna start saying that to him, and I want to see him drink it. Hey, you having a worm right now?
You having a worm?
Getting the morning worm. But no, I'm not gonna play the Raiders defense. I don't know about you guys. I'm good.
I'm good. CMC can do way too much damage alone.
Yeah.
So that's a good question. So Teddy Bridgewater, I don't think you're gonna start Teddy, but what do you guys think?
I wouldn't start.
Yeah. DFS sneaky?
No.
But
no.
No.
I mean, there's always these are two teams that could actually low key have a potential somewhat of a shootout, just given the defense. So it's if you're playing DFS and it's you can get Teddy Bridgewater. I don't know his price yet. I'm gonna drive out there tomorrow and go look. But if I don't know his price yet. If you can get him and then stack the rest of your lineup, it's maybe he's a quarterback. Maybe he throws for 270 and 3 touchdowns because Christian McCaffrey takes 2 60-yard touchdowns to the house.
Yeah.
And then DJ Moore takes the other one.
And then Robbie Anderson has that monster game.
Robbie Anderson is another one.
That's what I like. That's what I'm talking about, baby. So I'm good on Teddy Bridgewater. Maybe DFS, but that's about it. But Christian McCaffrey, I don't know. Just kidding. Put him in your fucking lineup, you stupid idiot.
Dirty girls. CMC started.
Unless you're in a one-man league.
Unless you're the...
All right.
I mean, even if you're only in a 4-person one player league.
You're
Starting Christian McCaffrey. If you're like in a 2-player, 1-man league, you're starting Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, okay. DJ Moore, I think you're starting them, boys.
Yeah, you're starting him.
Is that? This is where it gets interesting.
Yeah. See, this is where I go out.
Curtis Samuel, you're good. And then, dude, I don't know why everybody's hating on my boy right here, dude. The Raiders' defense is not good.
Yeah, Mike, I've had a lot of conversations with you off air about Robbie Anderson. You know, hey, man, you got to go with your gut, you know, and there's something that obviously keeps telling you, hey, Robbie Anderson. I mean, the guy's he's a talented wide receiver. I mean, he's played in this offense before, so we're getting the situation. I'm going to cut you off, but just to say, like, we're getting the situation where there's no offseason, there's no, you know, he's going to a new team. For some of these receivers going to new teams, they got to learn the offense and stuff like that. He's kind of in a weird situation where he played college football in Temple for this coach, so he already knows the system, so he can step in day one, and he should be the wide receiver number 2 on this offense.
Well, here and the thing is that I totally lost. No, like, I mean, I think Sam Darnold is better than Teddy Bridgewater, kind of, but I think as an organization, I know. Well, deep ball, I think Sam Darnold. No, but that's what I'm saying is that I feel like everybody still looks at Teddy Bridgewater as like a backup quarterback, and they're not kind of respecting him as a starting QB. And I think that they need to, because I think he's not that bad. We talked about his deep ball percentage is actually not that bad, right?
Yeah,
Anthony.
Yeah, I mean, you discussed that. He actually had some numbers where it's like it was small sample size, but it was. Like his numbers were good. They
went out and paid him starting quarterback caliber money. You know, they got rid of Cam Newton. They could have went out and drafted somebody, but they were like, hey, Teddy Bridgewater, that's our guy. You know, that was their free agent target, and they went out and got him. They paid him a hefty price.
So I think you could throw him. I think you can throw Robbie Anderson in your flex. It's gonna be like I said, it's a high risk, high reward position because I fucked up and played Brandon Cooks last night, so I need the upside, baby. And if you're in the same spot as me, myself, and I, then fucking light it up, dude.
Do you think a scenario where like we are sleeping on it, Robbie Anderson, and he should be owned in every league? I mean, if we're projecting this Panthers defense to not be very good,
yeah, if you're gonna be owning all these rookie wide receivers, you might as well fucking throw Robbie Anderson on your team.
Yeah, dude, he's got that neck too. So
he's got that long draft neck.
He can see. That's where it comes into play. So he
looks like the doll. He looks like the doll from Rugrats.
What is up with his neck? His neck is extremely large.
No, I mean, you both bring up good points. I mean, I see Carolina as a team that throws the ball, roughly 600 times, maybe even close to, above 600. It just comes down to, like I said, week 1. I don't have clarity, so I can't trust it.
You don't want to roll the dice. Mike is talking about he's going to roll the dice because he's shooting for the upside. Yeah, so, he's gambling.
But here's the thing: if you're going to own Michael Pittman Jr., own Robbie Anderson first.
No, I agree with you on that point too as well. So I was going to say the other part of it is I agree with what you're saying. I think he should be owned. Like saying you're taking these rookies who are potentially wide receiver 3 or 4s on the roster with some upside, when Robbie Anderson could easily be the 2 week 1 going forward, and could see 100 targets on the year, maybe 100 plus.
I don't want to beat a dead horse.
You run a fantasy podcast, you know what you're talking about, right?
Yeah, dude.
Robbie Anderson, go get him. Throw him on your bench at least.
I'm a producer. All right.
So I feel like I'm just repeating myself, but it's like when situations aren't clarity, week 1 I just don't want to talk.
All right, that horse is good and dead. We beat the shit out of it. Let's move on to the. Oh yeah, we have Ian Thomas too.
Negative.
He's a guy.
Is
he a guy?
I'm good on Ian Thomas, I guess.
And we're not playing the Panthers defense.
Unless you're in a tight end premium.
No,
I don't know. The Raiders defense is very good. I think
he has a tight end name to know though, because Carolina on a per target basis did have over 100 last year. I'm not saying that's going to break down the same, but Greg Olson's gone, so I think he has a name to know. How we brought up like Devin Duvernay, that's a name to know at the tight end position
for sure.
It's a name to know. Okay, we can move on to the next matchup. We got the Chicago Bears playing the Detroit Lions. I do feel like sometimes
I was doing one of my stupid animal questions.
The
What's
bear.
Fight? 1 bear or 3 lions?
Oh, dude.
3 lions.
3 lions?
You said 3 lions against 1 bear?
Yeah.
Oh, bro, 3 lions
would bear.
Fuck up a bear.
Are you fucking high?
I think I go bear.
Yeah, dude.
1 bear against 3 lions?
Are you stupid,
Bears
dude?
have like
do you know how big bears
mini
are?
Swords on their
against 3 lions?
Bro, do you know how big a bear is?
Against 3 lions?
Like top of the line grizzly though.
Bro, dude,
grizzly,
no way, dude.
How much do you think a grizzly bear weighs?
I don't care, dude. 3 lions?
Shut the fuck up. How much do you think a bear weighs?
A lot.
How much? Because
not as much as 3 Lions.
It actually might be more.
Look it up.
A grizzly bear can weigh up to like 1,200 pounds.
And so what? A lion only weighs 400 pounds. That's actually a lot.
That's kind of a lot.
Yeah, it's huge. Literally, you could shoot a bear and it would just be like, what the fuck? Okay, why are we doing this? Okay,
well, you said
so. It's 2-1 grizzly bear to 3 lions.
So wait, what?
The females can weigh up to 1,700 pounds.
Okay, yeah, exactly, dude.
Jesus Christ,
a grizzly bear?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my God.
How much does a grown lion weigh?
All right.
This is what I live for on this podcast.
400 to 420 pounds.
Damn, we were pretty right, actually.
We're pretty good at this stuff.
Yeah, it's because
I still think of 3 lions take him down. Just because, grizzly bear's big, but while the grizzly bear is taking down two lions,
he has swords.
As long as one lion gets him by the neck, then it's like game over.
Hey, you ever seen Wolverine? That's basically what a fucking bear has on.
All right, dude, we're fucking setting it up. I'm calling Dana White. Set it up. One grizzly bear versus 3 lions. We're
doing Fight Island. We got bears versus lions.
AVG Fight Island.
Okay.
All right.
Fuck, dude. Did you see how scared I got? Oh my God, it's so loud.
Well, that's our Fight Island theme song.
Fight Island theme song.
Bro, I literally was startled. I don't know if you saw. I got so scared. I can't wait to look back at that, dude. Jesus Christ. All right, so let's start on the Bears. The Bears are taking on the Lions. Jesus fuck. But I was gonna say, is who sets up these matchups? Is it like Roger Goodell's 8-year-old daughter? I want the Seahawks to play the Falcons because I want the Birds, and then I want the Bears to play against the Lions. It seems like that, right? Okay. Anyways, that's my joke. Mitch Trubisky. No, we're good on that.
So I just want to say something on Trubisky. I know you're probably not starting Trubisky, but I mean, I guess if you're in a DFS, it's kind of a sneaky good play. But two of Trubisky's or his top 2 games last year, his 2 best passer ratings were against the Detroit Lions. He put up a 20 burger and a 24 points, so 20 points and 24 points, and he threw for 3 touchdowns in both games against the Lions. So for whatever it is, whatever reason, he owns the Lions.
Maybe it's because he's a bear. And
I think if you're in a super flex league, I don't think Trubisky's a bad start because especially any offers you like the rushing upside. So and then sneaky, like he's probably dirt cheap in DFS, but yeah, for whatever reason it is, he's owned the Lions and they no longer have Darius Slay. So yeah, I think Trubisky's actually pretty sneaky good this week.
Yeah,
not mad at that.
He's gonna sneak off of my lineup. We got I don't know why I put Nick Foles in there. David Montgomery. What's the status, boys? Let the people know.
Right?
They said full practice.
Yeah, so that's still I think we're not 100% sure. I would say just be prepared to possibly switch it up, just in case.
I mean, to me, I think I said it on a previous podcast. I mean, for them to not even try to go get Fournette, not try to go get AP, not Devontae Freeman. Like, they didn't even bring in any running backs to, like, audition or try out. Like, they were just like, all right, dude, like, you got hurt. Like, just sit out for a second because you're our guy. So that just shows me that they have all the confidence in the world and that this is David Montgomery's backfield. And it's a scenario like where Anthony said, if he wasn't healthy, they're not going to rush him out there, and, he's not going to be practicing in full if he's still kind of banged up. I think pretty much what he did, he slipped, he strained his groin. That was a couple weeks ago. He should be good to go. Depending on where you got him or how early or how late you drafted. I mean, if you drafted earlier, he could potentially be your RB2. If not, if you drafted later, he was slipping due to the injury. He might be your RB3, RB4, where you don't need to throw him in there. I was in a situation where I have Kenny Galladay, and he's obviously doubtful. We'll touch on him in a second. So I'm kind of forced to thrust David Montgomery into my lineup. But then there's also a scenario where he's my RB3, and I have 2 good running backs like Kenyon Drake and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So it's like I don't have to start him. So I think it's just based on your depth and your roster. But I wouldn't, I think if he plays, he's going to do good. He's the good volume.
Yeah, volume play.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
All right, we can move on. Tariq Cohen, you getting fancy? You throwing the pass catcher in there? If David Montgomery's out, you throwing him in?
I mean, if he's out, it goes to the same answer. It's the exact same thing as Tyler said, but with Tariq Cohen. Like if you have the depth, no. If you need someone, you could start him in a PPR, especially PPR, because he saw 100 targets last year.
Yeah, it just makes you want Tariq Cohen was going the 7th, 8th round, give or take. Yeah. I mean, like, what are you really drafting Tariq Cohen to be your RB2? Because he's not your RB1. Are you drafting him to be your RB2? And then, or your flex guy. I mean, I feel like there's so much depth at the receiver. I'd rather start a receiver and the flex guy.
I went 6 receivers, and then I went 2
I think he's a good roster spot, depending on how your roster is and your running back depth. I mean, I'd rather start a ton of wide receivers over him for my flex. I mean, I guess if I'm in a double flex league, then maybe I'm considering him. But yeah, I had no shares of Tariq Cohen. I think the guy's super talented though.
Yeah, he good, but
he ain't good.
Not good enough. Allen Robinson. Starting him.
He could have a monster game. Like I said, no Darius Slay. And for whatever reason, Trubisky just owns the Lions.
Dude.
Like he's only good against the Lions.
Allen Robinson.
Allenson?
He's hot. He's hot right now.
DFS. He's worth it.
Anthony Miller. You playing him? Putting him in? What do you do with him?
I think he's a sneaky wide receiver 3. I mean, down the stretch in PP, especially PPR, mainly PPR, actually, I should say that. Down the stretch, he lined up predominantly in the slot, and he tore it up down the stretch. You got his targets right there?
There was the last 2 weren't that good, but there was a stretch from week 11 to 15 where he saw 4 of 5 games of at least 9 targets, and 3 of them in double digits. So
yeah.
Not mad at it, like Tyler
and then
said.
if Nick Foles becomes a starter, I really
see.
love
He's
that.
more of one of those names where I know you were bringing up the Robbie Anderson type. Where if I'm going to take a dart throw, I'd probably go Anthony Miller over Robbie Anderson because I know that he's going to be. I'm not saying Robbie Anderson can't have a good game or a better game than Anthony Miller, but if I'm doing that dart throw, I would probably go Anthony Miller because I do know in week 1 that Anthony Miller is going to be the 2 on this team and is going to see a target share. So that's where. Like I said, that's just my personal opinion on week 1. This will be different going forward, but week 1, that's where I'm at.
Yeah. I mean, if he's on your waiver wire, go grab him. I mean, this guy definitely should be owned. I was just, going through all my leagues and just seeing who was on the waiver wire, and he was there, and I was like, yo, I'm grabbing him. I kind of wish I would have saw this yesterday because I probably would have, who knows what I would have done with the Cook situation. In hindsight, I'm like, okay, maybe I would have started Anthony Miller, but yeah, I think Anthony Miller's pretty good play this week. Like I said, Trubisky, for whatever reason, he owns the Detroit Lions, and Allen Robinson's there obviously, but outside of him, Anthony Miller is the guy who should be seeing a good chunk of these targets. Good PPR guy.
Jimmy Graham.
No. I mean, the reports out of camp have been that he's been balling. I mean, I think Jimmy Graham's a talented guy, but I think his best days are behind him.
I think you said you were faster than him, right?
I am faster than Jimmy Graham.
No, you're not.
Dude, can we get this going?
That means I'm really much faster than him.
I'm faster than Jimmy Graham.
There was no fucking fluff.
All right, let's move on. Bears defense.
I'm not mad at it.
It's actually not bad.
I mean, you got no Kenny Golladay for Stafford. So
maybe
that obviously,
maybe no Amendola either.
Maybe. So I mean, I'm not mad at the Bears defense right here. It's a division game as well, so the Bears are used to Stafford and this Lions offense.
Speaking of Matt Stafford, are you playing Matt Stafford?
I think if I can get away from him this week, I would try. But the loss of Golladay, that's a huge hit. And if he's got no Amendola either, who's kind of like that underneath safety blanket, that's if I don't really honestly feel that comfortable with Stafford week 1.
Yeah, I don't like Stafford at all. Like I said, matchup. This is one of the matchup basing quarterbacks here, where you pair him with somebody, and hopefully you paired him with a guy who's got a good matchup. I mean, I always said a good little matchup would be like a Matt Ryan into Stafford. I got Goff and Stafford in 3 of my leagues. So this week I'm benching Stafford. I'm gonna start Goff. I think this is a bad matchup. And then with the addition of no Kenny Golladay and then potentially no Amendola, yeah, that's not good for Stafford.
He's someone too. Like if he gets dropped for some reason after week 1 because people just are like, oh, like sucks or whatever. It's like, I mean, it's like, and he might have been one of those quarterbacks for some people, or he was on the waiver wire last year in leagues. Like I picked him up. So he's someone that, let's just say he does go out there and struggle week 1 against the Bears and someone drops him. I mean, pick him up and use him going forward. Oh, yeah,
all right, let's move on to Kerryon Johnson. What's going on with these running backs? Adrian Peterson's there, DeAndre Swift. What do we got going on, boys? Who?
I mean, I think Kerryon was named I'm not starting any 3 of these guys.
Yeah, I want to see how this backfield gets divvied up. I mean, they're saying Kerryon's the guy. Swift's kind of been banged up in training camp. They bring in AP and they interviewed AP and asked him what did they tell you they want you to do, and he was like everything. So it's like I don't know, and even Patricia was like, oh yeah, like AP's gonna he's still gonna be we're gonna give him the ball. So it's a 3-man workhorse now on a
3 Lions against 1 Bear.
3 Lions against 1. All right, in this scenario, I'll take the Bear. I'll take the Bear in this one then.
Bro, people underestimate Bears, dude.
Yeah, dude. But yeah, I agree with Anthony. I want nothing to do with this backfield. I want to see how it pans out. I think potentially going forward, I'm expecting Kerryon Johnson to get hurt eventually. I hate to say that, but I think that's what it'll be. And then
I'm just not excited about a Lions running back.
I sent you an AP template too on the Lions.
No, yeah, I know. Listen, dude. I
put
up
I'd say
500 templates. Okay,
that's all good.
I missed a couple.
I'd say the one guy I'm probably starting. I mean, I feel really comfortable in this matchup would be Marvin Jones. I mean, we've seen him go out and have monster games with Kenny Golladay on the field, with no Kenny Golladay on the field, and a banged up Amendola or no Amendola. I like Kenny Golladay or Marvin Jones in this matchup.
Sorry,
I think you get a. Go ahead, Mike. Sorry.
I was gonna say, is Kenny Golladay officially out or is it doubtful?
Means about. I've seen very few doubtfuls turn into
it's like up. If you see doubtful, you're most likely if they start, unless your name is fucking what's his name, Matt Breida.
I was gonna say I think that's the only situation.
That's the only person where you've seen that it's doubtful and they actually put up fantasy points. Even if they do start, they end up not putting up fantasy points. So with Brandon Cooks,
you think Marvin Jones got top 12 upside? You think he could be a wide receiver one?
I mean, he
with
has
no Golladay. I mean,
he has that. He definitely has that upside. I mean, what would happen? I mean, we can't predict that, but I mean, we've seen plenty of Marvin Jones weeks where he goes out and is 2 touchdowns. He had 4 touchdowns in one game last year. He's the number 1 wide receiver that week. So, he has top 12 upside. I'd probably on the week. I'd probably with the situation given, I'd probably rank him in my roughly in my top 24.
Yeah, I would say he's probably got to be top 20 because you got to think he's getting double-digit targets. I mean, he's got to be the touchdown guy over there. What?
Mike was nothing.
There's 4 lines in here.
Sorry.
He's probably really cheap in DFS too because they always sent those lines out at the beginning of the week. Obviously no Golladay now. He's probably really cheap. He'd be a guy I'd be grabbing in every single one of my.
And the Lions I think they led the league in deep targets last year. So. And any type of bonus type of leagues, like I know we're in one. I mean, he could easily take a deep shot or 2 at Marvin Jones, and if he connects, I mean, Jones is one of the better deep ball guys in the league when it comes to that.
I like it.
Start him, dude.
I like it.
Put him in your lineup. T.J. Hawkinson.
I mean, I think there's some decent target upside, but I don't know if this is a personal thing, but I'm gonna have a hard time trusting T.J. Hawkinson week 1.
Me too. I mean, last year. Although last year week 1 was his best game.
Dude, maybe it's just like Sammy Watkins. Week 1's his week.
Yeah. I mean, I was thinking about this once the whole Golladay news broke of him being doubtful. I was like, okay, obviously Marvin Jones, he gets a boost, and then I was like, who else next? Hawkinson. But I'm like Anthony, I'm kind of struggling, And then he's been dealing with an ankle injury, kind of all off season and in training camp. I mean, does he have the potential to go out there and have a good game? Yeah, because like I said, potentially no Golladay, no Amendola. I mean, he's got to throw the ball to somebody. I just don't know how confident I would feel. I mean, like I'd rather have a Goddard,
Yeah,
I'd rather even have a Jack Doyle over Hawkinson.
I would go there too.
Watch him have a monster game now.
Oh, Doyle.
It's those things that you said. I'm cool with it if it happens.
Yeah.
Like if it happens, I'm cool with it.
Are you Camel cool with it?
Huh?
Are you Camel cool with it?
But I'd be Marlboro mad if he put up a dud.
Okay, let's move on to the Seahawks are playing the Falcons. We're gonna start with the Seattle Seahawks. We got Russell Wilson. I think you're starting Russell Wilson.
You're starting the league MVP.
League MVP. Like start him up. We got Chris Carson. I think you got to start Chris Carson. You got to throw him in there, dude. Yeah. Line him up. Bro, so Chris Carson could be your RB3.
Yeah. There's some reports going out that, or do you think it's just coach speak, that he wants to have it more of a running back by committee this year where he really wants to have like a 50-50 timeshare, Carlos Hyde and Chris Carson, or you think it's just kind of nonsense?
I don't know. I feel like Pete Carroll's been pretty – I have to look this up, but I feel like I could be wrong on this. He's been somewhat – not true to his word, but he says things that have a little bit of intent at least. I don't think it's 50-50, but I mean, I think one of the reasons I was down on Carson in the offseason is that I looked at the carry total and I didn't think Carlos Hyde was going to get nothing. And I think they're going to pass more. So does it kind of mess with his ceiling? Yes, it does, having Carlos Hyde there. And then with what he said. But is he still a weekly RB2? Yeah, I still think he's a weekly RB2.
Yeah. You should still see at least 15 plus touches, some
Yeah.
goal line work. So, yeah, Chris Carson dialing him up. I was just curious on your guys' thoughts
Yeah.
on that.
I mean, Carlos Hyde did it as a 2 thing last year.
That's true.
You know?
Yeah.
We can
It is.
go on to DK Metcalf. I think where you drafted him, you're starting
Yeah,
him.
you're starting Metcalf and Lockett in this game.
And,
100%.
And so that leaves us to Philip Dorsett. Are you throwing him in there?
Nope.
Not in week 1.
That's what we call gross. Dude, so I like Greg Olsen, man. I think you should fucking at least pick him up if you're struggling at tight end.
Yeah, he's one of those guys where it's like, I agree with you. I actually went to look at him in one of my waiver wires, and I was like, do I roster 3 tight ends? And I was like, I'm still considering it, honestly.
Well, I mean, we saw last year with Will Dissly was very involved as a tight end who was somewhat of a nobody before. And then who was the other one? I forgot.
Abercrombie and Hollister.
Yeah, Jacob Hollister was fucking he was Abercrombie. I don't know what the fuck I'm saying. Listen, I think Greg Olsen could have a decent game, actually. If you're, like, struggling at a tight end, I would still play, like, Jack Doyle over him and a couple of these other guys maybe, but I think it's not a bad spot. I mean, They paid the guy a decent, not a ton of money, but they paid him more than the other tight ends, and I know that's not exactly indicative of this guy's going to play a bunch, but the Angels could win the pennant. It could happen.
I mean, he's one of those guys, too, where it's like we've been talking about go get him now possibly before you needed the waiver wire. I mean, he could end up being a top 12 tight end this year. And if you have a spot where you're just almost like a burner spot, I mean, why not take a shot on Greg Olsen, hold him, see what he is, and if he ends up just being a bust, you drop him. If he ends up getting 7 targets, 15 a touchdown, maybe this is maybe he's a top 12 tight end, so it doesn't hurt to take the chance.
Yeah, I mean, I think we had the discussion in the past. How much does he get utilized? Do they use Dissly? Do they use Hollister? Because they still have all those guys on the roster, but I mean, we have noticed that the tight end position for the Seahawks has a ton of touchdown upside, and when you're kind of you don't have one of these like top tier tight ends. You're kind of just looking for a tight end who any given week can give you a touchdown. And like I said, the Seahawks tight end always has that. And then like I said, I like Olsen too. I think he's pretty. He's a savvy veteran. And when you have guys like Tyler Lockett, Metcalf, Philip Dorsett's a speedster, and then you get Josh Gordon, who's still just a decent receiver. You got these guys kind of stretching the field. It kind of just leaves the open of the field open for a guy like Greg Olsen to really eat. And if they kind of let. I've kind of seen the hashtag let Russ cook. If they let Russ cook and they let him sling the ball, I think that there's a ton of upside potentially there for Greg Olsen. But, yeah, like you said, maybe just throw him on your roster. And
his uniforms are so hot.
Yeah. These templates are gross, too. Dude, are you playing the Seahawks defense against Matty Ice?
I'm not. This is one of the second highest over-unders.
I was wondering
this is the second highest over-under of the week.
Yeah. That's you don't want to play the defenses in that situation.
Yeah, I don't think you want to do that.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
Definitely going to be a defense you're streaming throughout the year, though. When they're at home, I mean, they got Jamal Adams. Still a sneaky good defense. So, yeah, they're going to be a defense going forward. You're going to be streaming for sure.
They have the 12th man on IR, though.
Oh.
No.
Technically speaking, they do.
They do.
All right,
no fans. Let's move on to the next Matty Ryan. I
Like
think you can play Matt.
Huh? Sorry, Matt. Go ahead.
Oh, I was saying, I think you could play Matt.
Yeah, I mean, second highest over under. I kind of see this as like a shootout type of game.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm starting Matt Ryan probably wherever I have him.
Yeah, this is like one of those matchups like you're starting everyone. It's pretty much you're down at Matty Ice.
Matty Ice, dial it up. Who we got next?
Let's do Todd
Dial it
Gurley.
up.
You're lining him up.
You're my Gurley.
Calvin Ridley.
Gurley. It will just be interesting to see the usage of Gurley.
Mm-hmm.
Do they just kind of give him a full workload? Is it like a 50-50?
Yeah.
How many targets does he get?
Does he go out there and David Johnson it? Or just like,
They're going to work him to a full load.
I'm kind of sad I didn't get any shares of Todd Gurley.
Oh, it's because you're a fucking little girl, dude. And I have him on my team, so. In one league. Okay. Play Todd Gurley, though.
Yeah.
Calvin Ridley.
Play him.
Start him. Play Julio Jones. Start him. All right. Hayden Hurst. Start him.
I like it.
Yeah, I like Hayden Hurst this week. High over under, like you said, on these other guys. That's hot. That's what we like to see on the fucking field, bitch. Sorry, I'm so tired right now. Okay.
So you're still talking?
Yeah. All right.
Come on, Hayden Hurst. Don't fucking make me look like an idiot.
Hayden Hurst.
Hey, but he could, and then he could have a good year.
You're right.
That's the thing about week 1. It's like don't overreact or underreact.
That we should say that in the beginning of the
Can you
podcast.
underreact
For
week
sure.
1? Only I can underreact.
Yeah, for sure.
Hayden Hurst.
For sure, don't overreact in week 1. That we should have said that at the beginning of the podcast.
Like, don't do a victory lap when your player's like, oh, look at it, because then you could be T.J. Hawkinson the rest of the year.
Yeah.
sure.
Or vice versa. It's like if you had
Or
like
Sammy Watkins.
or Sammy Watkins, or if he goes out and gets 2 targets. Like, don't some of these players that have like, let's just say Hayden Hurst does have 3 targets this week. Just don't. He's a player that there's a role there. Don't just drop him if he has a bad week.
Here's the thing too: is like they go into these game plans like, okay, look at this defense does this. All right, let's really target the tight end here, and then it's like that might have been the game for that game. They're gonna target it, and maybe they did target that tight end. And you're like thinking, oh shit, my tight end got targeted so much, and then the next week they're like, okay, well we targeted him and it didn't work, so we're gonna move those targets around. You know what I mean? So we can't look too far into week 1 as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should be a coach.
You're spitting knowledge, dude. You look like a coach, dude.
I am a coach. Coach of a fucking podcast.
You need a face shield, and it looks like it's got raindrops.
Oh, dude, it's the fucking Dolphins. Sorry.
Upset of the week.
Get the
I
Miami
think
Dolphins.
so. I think there's a potential here.
So we'll start on the Dolphins.
Plus 6.5. I like plus 6.5.
You guys are taking the New England Patriots.
All right, let me tell you guys a real bet. You got to get a teaser, and then when you get the teaser, you get 6 points.
Oh, well, what's a teaser?
Okay, so what a teaser is. Fitzpatrick, I'm going to start in week 1.
Yeah, you're not starting him.
All right. Oops. We're going Tua Tagovailoa. Just kidding.
No, better not fucking play.
Am I right? I better not be having the choice to start.
Jordan Howard, I think you can start him. It's not that most ideal thing. I think you could start him as a flex spot, possibly. It's not ideal, though.
I think Jordan Howard was kind of highly undervalued because I think he's going to see 200, 220 rush attempts, and then he's going to be the goal line back. I don't see a scenario where Breida is going to be the goal line back. So he kind of carries that week in, week out, 12 to 15 plus touches with goal line work. So, I mean, if they get in close, he can fall into the end zone. He has that each and every single week. Like I said, I was kind of contemplating starting him as my RB2. Just depending on your roster, sometimes people, they go 0 RB, and, I think he was one of the perfect 0 RB targets because he was going in like the 8th round. But he's a guy who's going to see a ton of work, kind of a poor man's David Montgomery in a sense. A guy's going to see a ton of volume. Is he going to be efficient with it? Who knows? But you can't deny a guy who's going to see 220 rush attempts.
Yeah.
With that being said, I don't know if I'm starting him this week.
I don't know if I'm starting this week. More standard play if you're going to do it than PPR because – as we know so far, I mean, he hasn't been a pass catcher in his career. Maybe that changes, but I'm not pegging him to get a target.
Would you start
a target?
Would you start him or one of the Bucs running backs, Ronald Jones and Fournette?
I'll play Fournette over
Gross.
Jordan Howard. I'll play Fournette over Jordan Howard. Actually, no, against the Saints defense player.
That's what I was saying. I was like, I think I'd go Jordan Howard if I had to make that. Yeah. If I had to make that, hopefully I don't have to make the call, but if I do.
It's either Jordan Howard, Chris Thompson, or
let's just
Ronald
say
Jones.
It's not ideal to play Jordan Howard.
Yeah, but you might have to.
But I don't have a Matt Breida template, but I don't think you would be playing him. Maybe
I made one. Don't know why you not.
All right, dude. Listen, let me tell you something.
I mean, with that being said, are you down at Matt Breida?
Probably not week 1. I need to see his role. I don't know what it's going to be yet.
Yeah.
Like I said, I do kind of low-key like Matt Breida's upside. I think there's a sneaky potential to be one of those PPR type of backs with actually someone who does get some carries, though. Not like a Tariq Cohen who sees 4 or 5 carries a game and catches, X amount of balls. I think he might be able to get 7 to 10 carries a game on a good game script and still see the receiving work. So I do kind of like his upside is one of those backs that you can play on like a PPR type of format. So, but I week 1, like I told you, I'm not getting over cute with stuff.
Yeah, he's a stash and hold.
Yeah.
See how his role is right there.
All right, with Devontae Parker, you playing him in this one? He pooped all over Stephon Gilmore last year. Is he gonna do it again?
See, I'm torn on this. Like, he did rape Stephon Gilmore last year in Week 17. He did rape the Defensive Player of the Year. But that was with no Preston Williams. That was without like a run game. So it's like the running back, at least a capable running back, at least I should say. So I'm a little concerned that maybe they don't need to force the ball to him So his target upside to me is kind of capped. I think he saw 11 targets last game when he played against Stephon Gilmore. I'm not sure if he sees another 11 targets with Preston Williams on the field. Hopefully Gesicki's making a stride. I mean, what's your thoughts on Anthony? It's like if you drafted him, you'd probably drafted him to be your wide receiver 3 flex guy.
Yeah.
Maybe wide receiver 2.
I mean, who does force the ball to him? Ryan Fitzpatrick. It doesn't matter if he's covered or not.
This is true.
I mean, I still.
He's kind of was dealing with like a soft tissue injury already.
Injuries. I mean, there is scenarios where Devontae Parker is your wide receiver 3. So like I said, even I can see some scenarios where he gets him, but double flex, I'm starting him every time. If there's a double flex situation, I'm going out there. I don't know if they're going to move Stephon Gilmore across the field nonstop with him or not. This is kind of a new offensive coordinator. So we don't know exactly what we're going to get. We do know what we're going to get, but we know he's going to be the A. Yeah. So that's like I still think he's going to see 7 to 8 targets. You give me 7 to 8 Devontae targets from Ryan Fitzpatrick. I like the upside. So I'm flexing him all day.
And he's gotten it done against them in the past, so it's not like you can't get it done against Stephon Gilmore.
And this defense isn't what they were last year. It's not like this game actually couldn't end up being somewhat of a, I want to say, a potential shootout in a sense. Yeah. Not like shootout, but like
competitive.
You people see the Dolphins and they're like, oh, dude, the Patriots are going to destroy them. It's going to be like 35-7. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if this game's like 24-27 or something like that, or 31-28. So that's where it's like I do see that scenario, and I think Devontae Parker could be a big part of that reason.
I mean, you know me, I love Devontae Parker.
Yeah, I think you can start him.
I was like, oh, say less. Say less.
I think in DFS, this is really sneaky right here, Preston Williams.
Yeah, I like that call.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that.
And DFS, dude, put him in. I think this is like a double flex possibly if you want to throw Preston Williams in there.
Yeah, I do think Miami's one of those teams that might have a very focused target, potentially very focused target distribution. Like some teams, there's targets going everywhere, but they could be very focused between Devontae Parker, Preston Williams, even Mike Gesicki, the running back position, and they've lost some pieces, due to the COVID and whatnot. So I think it could be a very focused offense, which when it's Chin-Gilly, right?
Yeah.
When Chin-Gilly was a coordinator, it was a very focused offense. So I think there's potential for this after week 1 to where we kind of know what we're getting week in, week out.
Yeah.
Okay. Mike Gesicki, what do you guys feel? I think there's worse matchups.
Yeah.
I think sometimes when
he's like a back-end tight end one.
Yeah. So I like Gesicki in this one, just because, like I said, Stephon Gilmore is going to be on Devontae Parker. I mean, all the reports are that Preston Williams looks good. The ACL recovery or the rehab from the torn ACL, he looks good. But, practicing and then actually going into a game is a different scenario. So I think this is a scenario where we could see a big Gesicki game, lining up in the slot a ton. He's just a big body, red zone kind of guy right there. If there's a guy who's going to score a touchdown, I would bet that it'd be Gesicki out of the 3, highest probability. But yeah, I like Gesicki in this one right here.
That's hot like Hansel. Okay, we can move.
Hansel, so hot right now.
We can move on to the New England Patriots. We got Cam Newton. Are you starting Cam Newton in week 1 with entirely new team?
I'm not starting in week 1. I've actually heard some analysts going really or read some reports on analysts going very high on him, ahead of some certain names, or I was even surprised. I just don't know what Cam we have yet. So like I said, me personally, I've been saying it the whole podcast, is I'm not playing that game. And Miami's defense actually got a lot better than it was last year.
Yeah.
I know people are probably, the main person's probably thinking, that's probably what these writers do, because that's what half these fucking guys do. They're just like, oh, Miami sucks. They just copy and paste a lot of shit to kind of say what, they really do not know what they're talking about sometimes.
Dude, you're so offended.
Huh? Well, no, I'm just saying, it's just some of the stuff I read. I'm like, dude, does this guy even actually research any fantasy football, or does he just go off of last year's?
Why is everyone so fucking stupid?
Or does he just go off of what exactly happened last year and assume that the same exact thing's going to happen next year and the same exact numbers are going to be applied? It's like, no, bro, that's not what's going to happen. But anyways, yeah, I'm probably trusting safer options. Could he have a good game? Yes, but to me, it's like, I don't know what Cam we're going to get week 1, so I don't want that smoke.
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing I say, I know me, I'm a big Killer Cam fan. I think the rushing upside should keep him a safe floor. I'm not sure how much of a boom game or boom potential he has. I mean, the Dolphins could argue have the best 1-2-3 combo at the corner position. You know, we stacked up on, you know, our defensive line. We got a ton of different guys, linebackers. We actually got a couple players from the Patriots as well. So they should kind of know that offense. I know it's a different offense with Cam Newton compared to Tom Brady, but I mean, I wouldn't be, if you started him, I'm not going to say, oh, don't start him. He's a bum, but obviously, like I said, he's got the rushing upside. We'll see what he offers there. But like I said, I think a lot of people are sleeping on this Dolphins defense, and obviously, I can sound a little biased as being a Dolphins fan, but I mean, we got a ton of players, and like I said, our corners are going to be the best 1-2 combo or one of the best 1-2 combo in the entire NFL. So that's obviously going to limit the upside of the passing game. So I think if Cam Newton has a good game, it's obviously going to be from his legs and the rushing upside.
Would you start Cam Newton or Jared Goff?
I'll go Goff.
Yeah, same here. Cam Newton or Tom Brady?
Cam Newton.
I think that's so tough. I think with the loss of Mike Evans, I might go Cam Newton just for the rushing upside. I mean, like I said, if he can get me 50 yards on the ground and a touchdown, that's already a safe floor.
I think I'd still go Brady.
What about Cam Newton or Phillip Rivers?
I would go Phillip Rivers.
I'm going Cam over that.
Yeah, I think I would Cam over that.
What?
Sorry, buddy.
Cam Newton or Aaron Rodgers?
Wait, what, dude? The Colts are playing the tanking Jacksonville Jaguars, and you're gonna take, and they have the best O-line in the league, and you're gonna go Cam Newton.
All right, you want to do a monster bet?
Yeah, I bet you Phillip Rivers. Yeah, 100%.
Right, and I do Cam
You
Newton?
owe me a monster, yeah.
All right, and then
I'm not in on this one.
Yeah, Phillip Rivers over Cam Newton. That's fucking.
I'll take Cam Newton.
It's the
over
quickest
Phillip Rivers.
monster I've ever
Phillip
gone.
Rivers doing it.
Fucking idiot. All right,
He's actually he's neck and neck, and I'm looking at some rankings with
What
Kyler
the
Murray.
heck?
Cam Newton?
Yeah.
Like I said, his rushing upside is gonna keep him at a safe floor. And like I said, if he could just get you 50 rushing yards and a rushing touchdown, which I think is possible. Miami's always struggled. I know it's different year to year, and like I said, I just talked about our defense, but for whatever reason, we have always struggled against rushing quarterbacks. So I think 50 yards and a touchdown is definitely in the books for a guy like Cam. His passing upside, I don't know what it'll be, but
I don't even know if that rushing floor is there because we didn't see it for the few games he was playing. That's my point to the whole Cam Newton is I'm just like I said, I'm cool being wrong, but we didn't see him really run the ball for the few games he was there in Carolina, and he's coming off another injury. So is that rushing floor there? Because I don't think that's a guarantee that it's there.
yeah.
I don't know what happened to these templates.
I hope it's not there. He's the Dolphins.
We can move on to James White and Sonny Michel. What do you guys think? Are you starting one of them? I think you could start James White, if anybody. But
I'm starting James White. I just can't find it into me to start Sonny Michel. Like every draft I did, like Sonny Michel was just always there. Later rounds we got there, 11, 12, 13th round, and I kept thinking like, all right, here's a starting running back on a team, draft him, and I was just like, no. I don't want any Sonny Michel on my team.
Like a little thing on your shoulder, like
just like no, I don't want to draft him because then I'm going to be tempted to like, oh well, I got to start him because he might get 15 plus carries in the goal line work, and with Cam Newton there too, it might help him. And no, I don't want anything to do with Sonny Michel, so I would not start him. But what do I know?
Yeah, but if you just listen to what he said, he's going to get 15 carries probably in goal line work, and you believe that, then you can. But no, I'm with you too. I'm not.
He would get 15 carries in goal line work last year. And no, just couldn't perform. Maybe he needs an extends because he couldn't perform.
he could use an extends. He could use one. Sorry, I'm just fixing these templates.
Especially when you probably drafted Sonny Michel, like I said, he was going so late that I would like to believe that you already have 2 to 3 better options. So he's probably your RB4.
Oh, yeah.
So where's a scenario where you're really thrusting Sonny Michel into your starting lineup?
Where you
probably just have him now more of like a depth play.
Where you're deciding between Ronald Jones, Jordan Howard, and now Sonny Michel.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's the scenario.
That's why, low-key, that's why I didn't draft Jordan Howard because it just doesn't sound sexy.
But could it be?
Could it be? Let me see.
No.
Better like.
Better leg, no. Okay, but we can move on. Julian Edelman, I think you could start Julian Edelman this week.
Yes, you can.
Yeah. What about N'Keal Harry? I think that's a little bit of a sneaky play, baby.
I don't like it. He's going to see a lot of Byron Jones and Xavier Howard on the outside. I'm even a little worried about Julian Edelman. He's going to see the rookie that we drafted. I don't even know how to say his name. Noah. Do you know how to say it, Anthony? Noah Inkanuga. One of the corners. Yeah, we took him in the first round. He's a pretty scrappy corner, so I wouldn't be surprised if Edelman didn't have that much of a monster, that big of a upside game. I think he's got a safe floor, obviously, in PPR leagues because he could probably get you 5 catches, in the yardage, so should have a safe floor. But I don't think the boom game is there for Edelman. If he doesn't get into the end zone, you might be a little disappointed.
Yeah, outside of Edelman week 1, I'm not.
Yeah, I'm not messing.
You know my answer. I feel like I'm beating the dead horse over and over again. I got a second dead horse. I started beating that horse.
Are you playing Red Dead, dude? You're just fucking killing these horses, dude?
You don't want to see me in that game.
I do think N'Keal Harry's a guy that he's worthy of a bench stash. To see going forward. Because it is going to be Edelman and N'Keal Harry as the main 2 guys in this Patriots passing attack.
Know the name, like we've said. I mean, we don't know how deep your rosters are, but just know that name and like the snap percentages, all that stuff. Or we'll bring it up for you, and you can listen to us when we're talking about wave for our episode.
Yeah, listen.
Just telling you guys to listen to us. I'm talking really fast, so let's get it.
All right, we can move on to
how many games are there?
I know.
We have 6 more, I think.
Are you kidding?
Nope.
6 more games?
There's no bye week in week 1.
Oh my god, bro.
We're at.
Do we get a halftime here? Is anyone even gonna listen to this?
Do you want to stop for a second?
We can stop. We're too far along to stop. Which is rocket.
There's 6 games left still.
Hold on. I'll tell you. We got to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Jesus.
All right.
Yeah.
Well.
All right.
I can pause it for a second, and we can.
Fuck! I should have fucking had a beer.
Yeah, I can pause it for a second.
It's gonna make it hard. It's gonna
no.
Okay. All right. Well, let's go on to.
Go get us a beer in the meantime.
All right, I will. I'll go get you a beer, but in the meantime, let's talk about Tyrod Taylor and the Chargers. Are you guys starting them? What's going on?
Not week 1. No.
No. Okay, then Austin. Oh, Justin Herbert. Why did I put that in there? Austin Eckler.
Yes.
You're going to start Austin Eckler. You have to. Drafted him. Justin Jackson. I don't even think Justin Jackson's worth a stash, to be honest.
Joshua Kelly would be the guy I'd want to stash if I'm stashing one of these back.
I feel like I'm not stashing one of them yet. I feel like it's not necessary to stash a Chargers running back yet.
Okay, and then we got Keenan Allen.
Start him.
He's gonna bolt all over these.
He's gonna bolt.
Bengals.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's gonna bolt so hard.
Mike Williams out with a shoulder
play,
injury. So just to let people know, if you don't know, it says it on your app.
If you want to hold on to him, you can. I'm the biggest Mike Williams truther there is, and I didn't draft him in any leagues because Tyrod's there and he's injured. It's just I want nothing to do with him right now.
It smells bad.
It's not very nice.
Yeah, that's my guy too. I love
Hunter Henry. You gonna play Hunter Henry this week?
I'm not mad at him in this game. I mean, with the, we don't know what we're gonna get out of the Bengals defense yet. No Mike Williams. I mean, he's gonna be the number 2 in this receiving core in a sense. So I'm not mad at Hunter Henry this week at all.
No, yeah, like I said, he should be the number 2 behind Keenan Allen.
Yeah, I think if you drafted him 2, you probably drafted him to be your starter more than likely.
Yeah.
I don't think he was your 2, so I think you're starting Hunter Henry. So
dial him up.
Chargers defense. I love it.
I'm not mad at it.
I love the Chargers defense.
Rookie coming in with the new offense. Maybe he has a decent game for a rookie debut, but he's still rookies make mistakes.
Yeah, I mean, you got Joey Bosa, Melvin Ingram. They went out and drafted one of the better middle linebackers out of Oklahoma in the draft. I mean, they got 3 top 5 corners from Pro Football Focus. They did lose Darwin James, the All-Pro safety, but yeah, this Chargers defense is going to be pretty good. And they got Mikey D.
All right. We can move on to the Bengals. We got Joe Burrow. I think you're not starting with Joe Burrow in any leagues. He should be your QB3, if anything. Maybe QB2.
QB3.
I'm just joking.
Not in week 1, but
yeah, it's a tough matchup right here. I mean, you obviously didn't draft Joe Burrow to be your starting quarterback, but I think if you have him to be like a matchup-based quarterback going forward, I think this Bengals offense is going to be really entertaining, really fun to watch. With how bad their defense is going to be, they're going to be in a lot of chasing and garbage points. Those still counts fantasy points for me.
Yeah, points are points. There's no denying that.
Yeah. But this week, it's pretty tough against that stout Chargers defense.
The Chargers.
Oops. We got Joe Mixon. I think you're starting him.
Dial him up.
It sucks.
Just got paid. He's happy.
I was gonna say the matchup isn't sexy, but
kind of sad I didn't get any Joe Mixon in any leagues.
If you have Joe Mixon, maybe pick up Gio Bernard. He's one of the better handcuffs, to be honest, because we've seen him actually do well in that backfield before when Joe Mixon wasn't there. So, I'm not mad at the Gio Bernard handcuff if you're going to do that.
For sure, I agree.
AJ Green, and what do you feel?
See, I'm a little hesitant on AJ Green. I mean, he's coming off the ankle injury. I mean, he was already kind of dealing with a minor injury in camp. I mean, like I said, he's going to see a lot of Casey Hayward or Chris Harris, who are, like I said, 2 of the top 5 corners from Pro Football Focus. I'm just not sure what the upside is here. Like, we haven't seen AJ Green on the field in, it feels like, forever.
It does.
And you probably drafted him in the 6th round, 7th round. So you more than likely already have 2 to potentially 3 guys. I mean, I guess if I'm in a double flex league and he's my wide receiver 4, I'll take a shot on it because they are going to be chasing most likely. And it's AJ Green. All it takes is maybe a couple big catches and he produces for you right there. But if I can avoid starting him, I think I would rather not start him just in a tough matchup, guy coming off an injury with a rookie quarterback who's had no preseason games to under his belt. I don't know. How do you feel about it? It's AJ Green. It's so tough because he's got like that name,
I know. I mean, he's one of the guys who I had the hardest time with, which you just even draft for a second. It was like, I mean, is the upside there? Yeah, it's there, but I mean, it's been so long, and it's like we don't know, like who am I? Who is AJ Green at this point? So it's like,
there's only one in the fridge.
It's like,
You want it?
No, I'm good.
Bro, you got to pull out those headphones. That thing.
This?
Yeah, it's literally just sitting
Oh,
there
dude, why
making
don't
a
you? Oh, you
bunch
come
of
back
noise.
just to yell at us?
I'm just saying, maybe the whole
Dude,
time
I
you're
know we're gonna
recording.
be doing a fucking
Marathon.
Yeah, week 1 marathon episode over here.
Oh.
But yeah, I mean, I'm probably not taking the risk on AJ Green in week 1. Could I be wrong? Yes. The one guy I'm starting is Tyler Boyd. Second year in the offense. I know it's still a rookie quarterback, but him and Joe Barrow. Hey, Joe Barrow. Apparently have some chemistry. We've seen Tyler Boyd. He's going to be the starter. So is AJ Green, but I know what I'm going to get from Tyler Boyd. I have no idea what we're going to get out of AJ Green yet.
Yeah, at least, give me all the Tyler Boyd. At least he's been able to work and get reps with Burrow. Where, like I said, AJ Green's kind of was dealing with an injury already. He's missed a couple practices, and he just hasn't been on the field in forever. AJ Green's kind of a high risk, high reward play. Where I think Tyler Boyd's more of kind of a maybe the boom's not there, but he should have a safe floor for you.
Yeah.
Plus his name's Tyler.
Okay, and
Plus
then
your boy T.
what about T. Higgins?
Oh, there's your other boy T.
Oh, T. My boy
think
T.
you're
Higgins, not yet. It's not his time to shine, but eventually it will be his. We're going to be talking about the Burrow to T. Higgins connections for a long time.
I like that. We can go on to the Cardinals.
No Bengals defense.
Yeah, no
Never.
Bengals defense. Yeah, if you have the Bengals defense on your team, don't.
They do get to play the Browns.
We got the Cardinals taking on the San Francisco 49ers. This game could be canceled, though. So do we even talk about it? Not canceled, but postponed.
Postponed. Yeah.
But we're going to talk about it.
Yeah, so obviously, if the wildfires that are going on in California right now, this game's supposed to be played in San Francisco. They were talking about the air quality is if it gets to a certain level, then it's deemed unsafe for the players, and then they would have to postpone the game. They were talking about potentially moving it to a different stadium. They're talking about potentially moving it to Monday night to give the air or the earth or whatever you want to call it a whole day to kind of clear up. And so, I mean, what would you call that?
The earth.
The earth or whatever.
Or you
The
call it both.
atmosphere.
You call it-
Yeah. So just this is just something to monitor because they could potentially postpone it or move it and stuff like that. But if they do keep it going, I mean, Kyler Murray, you drafted him to start him. I was actually seeing some things like, sit Kyler Murray. It's the Niners defense. Don't play him.
You're high.
He could bust you. But, I mean, in 2 games last year as a rookie, Kyler Murray scored 23 and 27 points. And in both of those games, he had a 70-plus or more completion percentage. So Kyler Murray balled out against this defense for you. Obviously, he offers the rushing upside. And, he got some guy named DeAndre Hopkins now. So, I'm starting Kyler Murray.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, me
I don't
too.
know what those other people were
Those
saying.
experts.
yeah.
Sit him.
Kenny and Drake, I think even in the tough matchup, you're starting them.
Yeah.
You got to. You drafted him.
Love me some Drake.
In the first or second round.
He's been cleared to 100% play this week.
Yeah, the walking boot was shed. I think he practiced in full. Yeah.
Yeah, but I still think.
And even for him, I know people are saying, like, oh, like I said, the 49ers defense is so stout. But in his 2 games against the 49ers, 31 rushes for 177 yards. That was good enough for 5.7 yards per carry. And then he also got 10 receptions in those 2 games.
Yeah.
So,
and I mean, it's Week 1. It's like we don't know what these. I know we always talk about how don't draft a defense first because we don't know what we're going to get the next year. I mean, is the 49ers still going to be a good defense? Yes, but maybe they're, maybe they're a top 8 defense as far as yardage goes. Maybe they struggle against the run this year. Like these are things we just don't know. So it's like, Kenyon Drake's going to get a workload. Kyler Murray's going to go out there and do his thing. So it's like
Cardinals, DeAndre Hopkins.
Dial him up.
I think Chase. By the way, I think Chase Edmonds still keep him on as a stash, even though he seems to be practicing in full and all that. I still think you should hold on to him.
Agree.
Yeah, I think Chase Edmonds is probably one of the best handcuffs to own, just because if something was to happen to Drake, I mean, we saw what Chase Edmonds could do in this offense last year for a brief stint. He put up some pretty good numbers there. As far as the receivers go, it's D-Hop and that's it. I want nothing to do with Christian Kirk. I want nothing. Larry Lynch, he's the man, but.
Just not in this matchup.
Not in this matchup,
especially. Even in PPR, I think it's still rough to play.
And not until we know what their roles are going to be with the new D-Hop.
Yeah.
And
I think if you're in like a 16-man league or something, maybe Christian Kirk if I was going to pick one of them. But yeah, sketch. #sketch. We'll move on to the 49ers. We got Jimmy Garoppolo. I think that the Cardinals defense is going to be a little bit better this year. So I mean, I don't like Jimmy Garoppolo as a quarterback for fantasy in general. So yeah, I'm going to say that's a no for me, dog.
That's a no for me too, dog.
I mean, you didn't draft Jimmy G to be your starting quarterback, but if you're going to do a DFS, he was sneaky good against the Cardinals. I mean, he had 300 or more passing yards and 4 touchdowns in both the games against the Cardinals. So might have to bet the over in this game because these quarterbacks are putting up some numbers. But
I don't know.
Yeah, so I think he'd be like a sneaky DFS guy. But, I mean, most realistic, you didn't draft Jimmy G in any of your leagues to be your starting quarterback. And if you did, you're a diehard Niners fan. But I guess if that's the point, then, yeah, you can throw him in there.
Well, you're not trying to win then. Raheem Mostert.
Yeah, you play Raheem Mostert.
I think that's not a bad move.
Especially if Tevin Coleman's out. Because he could be because he has that sickle cell thingy.
Yeah.
Sickle cell anemia.
Yeah. That's what I meant.
Yeah, so you're down on Mostert for sure.
But Tevin Coleman, keep an eye out. I didn't draft Tevin. I don't think anybody drafted Tevin Coleman this year, which is kind of crazy because he went pretty high last year. I feel like. Yeah. Not pretty high. Yeah, I think he still went like 6th or 7th round.
I mean, I took him in one league in like the 11th round or something like that.
I don't think it was that low, but maybe.
Yeah. Or maybe it was pretty low.
Yeah, but like Anthony said, he's got the sickle cell trait, so with the air quality, that could act up for him. So he potentially won't even be playing. So we can
is that like an air thing?
Heavy Mostert thing.
It's somewhere just could affect his like I don't know.
Yeah, his lungs. Okay, let's move on to Deebo Samuel.
I mean, all the reports said that he was playing. I think actually got recorded. He's going to be out, right? Yeah, so he's going to be out. So you're not playing Deebo Samuel. But all the reports have been that the foot looks good. I think he's ahead of schedule. So potentially next week he might be available to play. But this week he's already been listed as out.
Listed as out. Don't play him. Brandon Ayuk, do you think that's
good?
Do you think this means that you can throw this guy in there in your lineup and get some sneaky points? Sneaky deaky points?
I'm not. Like Anthony said, I'm not getting cute. The guy's already been banged up. He's questionable.
Where you drafted Brandon Ayuk, you probably have better receivers to start.
That's a valid point.
Yeah, so I would go ahead and light those guys up. George Kittle, of course, throw him in. Fucking do it, idiot.
Could get 200 receiving yards.
Maybe 3.
Maybe 4.
Do you remember how bad this Cardinals defense was against the tight end position?
Yes, but they got Isaiah Simmons. I don't understand. Like, do you not remember this? They drafted the linebacker in the last round.
Why are you getting so offensive over there?
I know, but George Kittle's just kind of a different breed.
I'm just saying it, but they had literally nobody on their defense.
That's one player out of 11.
But that's okay, whatever. They drafted more than one defensive player.
No, they didn't.
Okay, let's move on.
Niners defense, you down them up?
Yes.
Maybe.
I think there's better options actually. Without this Cardinals off, like I said, Colin Murray, they put up some points. So, but here's the thing: if you drafted the Niners defense, you probably spent a high draft pick on them, and you probably didn't draft a backup defense. So
you're not going to listen to us.
Start
you're going to play them.
Yeah.
So, could they come out potentially and put up a dud for you? Yeah, 100%.
Well, that being said, let's move on to Tom Brady and the bunch. I didn't put any Niners.
Tom Brady and the bunch.
Tom Brady and the bunch playing in New Orleans. We'll start with Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. You starting Tom Brady?
He's a low-end QB1.
Yeah, I don't want to play Brady in this matchup right here. The Saints defense is one of the better defenses. Just having no Mike Williams, that kind of scares me.
Mike Evans.
Oh, Mike Evans, my bad. No Mike Evans. That obviously, downgrades Brady's upside of what he could potentially do or potentially offer. I mean, you got Marcus Lattimore, Janoris Jenkins. They got another safety. I forget. It's pretty good. I forget what his name is. Maybe that's the Jenkins I'm actually thinking about. But pretty good Saints defense right here. So if I could be fading Tom Brady, I would. I wouldn't be surprised if he came out and kind of put up a stinker. But I think he has that hype that everyone's going to want to play him. What's his ranking right now? Like, where's he at?
It was like 11 or 12
in terms of like all the quarterbacks.
Yeah, it was 13.
13. Who's he? Like, who are some names that are around him?
Cam Newton, Jared Goff, Matthew Stafford, Jimmy Garoppolo, Tyrod Taylor, Aaron. I would start him almost majority of those, minus Goff.
Yeah, I think outside of Goff,
I would start him over
tough,
Cam.
But that would be a tough one right there. He's like a low end QB1. He's on the fringe there for me.
He's still on the fringe, but this could. I know the defense is good, but it is week 1, and we don't know what we're gonna get. This could still potentially be two offenses that are high scoring, high powered, in a sense. So this still could be a high scoring game. So that's why I would still go with Brady over some of these options.
Yeah,
but it's not like he's a top 5 type of play this week, or even top 8. Like I said, it's more of a low end one.
Do it. Put him in.
And most people who drafted Brady are probably going to start, and they're not going to.
Yeah, people who drafted Brady are probably Patriots fans or just Brady lovers. So you drafted the guy to start him, so it's going to be hard. Like I said, I don't know. Me personally, I would see if there's some better options, or if you drafted 2 quarterbacks potentially. But yeah, I think the upside is kind of capped with no Mike Evans on the field. You're losing one of the best receivers in the entire NFL. That cannot help you.
Yeah,
we did see on the other side. I mean, Jameis Winston was getting it done with no Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. So I mean, this offense can still function with who's there, Scotty Miller, right? And then who's the other guy they drafted? So maybe they step in and still able to do so. I'm saying from the positive standpoint. Yeah. Not saying it's going to happen, but we've seen what Bruce Arians could still do with this offense with 2 of their best weapons gone.
Yeah.
And Jameis Winston, who I'm going to say Brady's better than Winston.
Well, that being said, we can go on to Leonard Fournette, the running back. How do you guys feel? I think it's probably the worst matchup if you're going to start one of these Buccaneers running backs. So
yeah, I mean the Saints allowed the fewest points to running backs last season, and they allowed the 4th fewest yards per game, only 91 yards per game last year. To me, I want nothing to do with it. I kind of want to see how it works. How the snaps get split, who gets the goal line work. It's probably going to be Fournette. Who gets more utilized in the passing game? Is it McCoy? Is it Ronald Jones? I mean, so I kind of want to just stand pat and see how the backfield breaks down.
Yeah, so I was gonna say I would say fade all these running backs in Tampa Bay for this first week. If you're in a pinch, I would say maybe I would play Leonard Fournette out of all of them.
I would still play Barber over him. I mean, he's been on the offense. I know they got it.
Ronald Jones.
Ronald Jones, yeah.
Yeah, if I'm going to start one of them, it's going to be Ronald Jones, just because, like I said, he's been there all training camp, and he's been with the offense. He already knows the offense. Fournette's still got to come in and learn. He's been there for a week, if that.
Yeah, that's all he needs.
This is the guy. He just says it because he's got Fournette.
No, I think Fournette's a capable running back. Everybody fucking hates on him, but
he hasn't been good for almost 4 years now.
That's weird because he gets like 1,000 rushing yards every year.
Because he gets the carries. Look what he's.
Yeah. I know that.
You can give Peyton Barber 250 carries and get you almost 1,000 yards.
No. Give Kalen Ballage all those carries. See what the fuck he does.
That's one guy I won't argue with you.
Yeah. Give it to J.D. McKissick. He's only at 88. All right. Chris Godwin, you're starting him, especially with Mike Evans out. This could be an ideal game script where we're getting some garbage time points for Chris Godwin, too. I think.
Yeah, you're starting
this
Chris Godwin.
defense.
I don't care who's guarding.
And then we got Rob Gronkowski. You gonna make the sometimes when they have these stout defenses, tight ends kind of sneak by. I do notice.
I mean, this is one thing to Tyler's point that if Mike Evans is out, maybe the targets do go up a little bit this game to Rob Gronkowski in particular, because they do have some chemistry and Brady's able to audible at the line and do some things where in a normal game script maybe that he wouldn't be on the field as much. Maybe because Mike Evans is out, maybe he's on the field a little bit more. So I'm not playing the risk games, but I mean, if you want to, I'm not mad at you if you do it this week.
I mean, yeah, I think if you got Gronk, you're on the Gronk Brady hype train of the upside, what he's got there. But I have 0 shares of Gronk. I mean, they still got O.J. Howard there. They still got Cameron Brate there. I mean, we'll see what happens. I think he's obviously got some high touchdown upside, especially when they get in the red zone because of the chemistry and the rapport that him and Brady have over all the years in New England. But do I think he's a guy who's going to come out there and give you those Gronk games of 8 catches, 100 yards, and a touchdown? I think those days are gone.
Interesting. Okay, let's O.J. Howard.
Dude, why did I even make a template for him?
Where to keep it again? I was like,
O.J. Howard, 3 touchdowns in 1 game.
And I watched him do that.
Just a monster game.
Yeah, I don't think you're starting O.J. Howard. I think if you're going anyone Gronk, they got the fucking chemistry, like you're saying. He's about to not ball. By the way, we can finish Buccaneers defense.
No.
Yeah, I think you're good. You can. Oh yeah, we're gonna move on to the Saints. This is a defense you could play, but Drew Brees. What do you guys think? I think you're starting him.
Yeah, you're starting Drew Brees.
Yeah,
he's like. I feel like him and Brady are almost in a similar.
Yeah, they're like back end QB1s to me.
But I mean, but it also wouldn't surprise me. Like I said, if they ended up being like they ended up being like 250 and 2 or 3 each. That wouldn't surprise me if this was a decent scoring game.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all I got, Drew Brees.
Do it to it, baby. Alvin
Start Lamar Jackson over Drew Brees?
Huh?
Start Lamar Jackson over Drew Brees?
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson over Drew Brees?
Kamara, yeah, you're firing him up.
Yeah, he's got a mushroom, dude.
I like that. Latavius Murray?
Or is that the star?
No, the star.
I was like, that's the star, right?
I'm not starting Latavius Murray here. The Buccaneers' rush defense was actually one of the best in the NFL. They played against some guys like Christian McCaffrey, like Alvin Kamara. So yeah, I'm not starting Latavius Murray right here. I think he's one of the better handcuffs to have, or he's one of the better running back, like one of the better running back depth players to have, because for whatever they did utilize Kamara and Ingram for a long time, and then just when Kamara went down, Latavius Murray was a savage. When he was getting 20-plus carries, he was a savage. He was like the number 1 overall running back back-to-back weeks with
Where was it? In Minnesota or was it in Oakland? Where was Latavius Murray before?
Minnesota.
Both.
Yeah.
And Oakland.
Even both of them, he was
and
decent.
Minnesota.
But
and
yeah.
Oakland.
Anyways, Michael Thomas, start him up.
I don't know, dude. There's some bust potential. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Emmanuel Sanders.
Where you drafted him, you probably have better options in week 1.
I mean, if you're in a 3 wide receiver league, I think he could potentially be your 3rd receiver or double flex. Maybe he's your double flex guy. But if outside of that, you like Anthony said, you're not getting queued, and like you probably have better options.
Better options. Yeah, I think you're right on that one. Jared Cook.
Yeah, I mean, if you draft him, you're probably dialing him up.
Yeah,
I think he's going to be one of the bigger busts because
I would trade him
of his. He was so reluctant or so reliant on his touchdown upside. I mean, he had 9 touchdowns, not a ton of targets, not a ton of yardage. So with the addition of Manny Sanders, and then obviously if Kamara can stay healthy for a full 16 games, does he see another 9 touchdowns? It's probably unrealistic. And then, like I said, the receptions and the yardage wasn't there. So I think he's due for a massive regression. He's kind of be one of like the bigger letdowns in fantasy.
Let me ask you guys this. I kind of skipped on the receivers, but Traquan Smith.
No.
He had a lot of positivity.
Anthony's
face.
I'm
not saying to start.
Brings up Traquan Smith.
I'm not saying start, but it's an interesting fucking name. But I was gonna say we can finish it on this next matchup, and then we'll do the Mondays later. especially if the Niners and Cardinals. I mean, we're at 2:30 right now, so that's all.
So just get it done.
Just saying because it's 2:30. Okay.
We can make a separate
That's
episode?
Fine. We got the Cowboys taking on the Los Angeles Rams. We'll start on the Cowboys side of the ball. Dak Prescott, I like it. You got to start him, baby.
Yeah.
Put him in there.
Start him Sunday night, Dak Prescott.
Dude, after seeing how much they're going to use CH, I'm kind of liking my Dak Prescott.
I don't know, dude. There's reports he had pandemic depression. It's actually true.
I think we all did at one point.
It's actually true. He came out and Skip Bayless called him a pussy, basically.
I mean, the guy's brother committed suicide.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I'm depressed about that. And Skip Bayless is like, oh, you're a pussy. It's like, dude.
Well, he didn't say.
but in a sense.
He said he's not a leader, which is insane.
It's like, dude, his brother just killed himself. He's going to mourn and be depressed. It's fucking normal. Like, Skip Bayless has probably never thrown a football in his fucking life. Skip.
Zeke. Don't skip on Zeke. Throw him in. All right.
Don't skip on Zeke.
Amari Cooper. Tony Pollard, by the way, the good handcuff. I feel like we just talking all these handcuffs today, but Tony Pollard, good handcuff. Throw him on your if he's available, possibly.
Yeah, I saw someone drop him. I'm probably going to grab him.
Yeah, go pick him up.
So what's your thoughts on Amari Cooper here? Because I think he's so boomer bust. He's been dealing with some type of minor injury already. He's kind of been held out of practice a couple times in the last week or two. And then he gets to see a heavy dose of Jalen Ramsey. And I'm just a little concerned if you drafted Amari Cooper. Obviously, you drafted him to be your wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2.
You probably get him 2. You might get him 3, actually. He was going late.
Yeah. I'm a little concerned. I would be fading Amari Cooper in this matchup. And I know he's got the name, but, I mean, he's going to see a heavy shadow from Jalen Ramsey. And I forget what the numbers are, but in the 2 or 3 games that Jalen Ramsey shadowed him, I think Amari Cooper has a combined 2 catches for 25 yards or something like that. And, you know, when you have a guy like Michael Gallup, you go on and get a guy like CeeDee Lamb. I know there's a lot of Blake Jarwin hype that he could be this guy. You got Zeke. You got Tony Pollard, just a capable pass catcher. I just don't imagine a scenario where you're just going to keep force-feeding the ball to a guy who's, 1, kind of banged up already, and 2, he's being covered by the highest-paid corner in the NFL when you have these other capable pass catchers. So if you have the depth, I would be fading Amari Cooper in this matchup. And this is kind of just one of the reasons why I just avoided Amari Cooper in every single one of my drafts, because he's too boomer bust. And for the draft price of where he was going, I just felt like it was too rich of a price tag for a guy who's too inconsistent.
I agree completely.
I mean, could he go out? I'm kind of this week in particular. I'm kind of on your side of it, but I mean, could he go out and boom? I mean, he can. I mean, I think it comes down to your wide receiver depth. If you have good wide receiver depth, like if you got like a Robert Woods and so Robert Woods is someone I would start over him 100%. Opposite side of the game, which is you could have, and you have if you have a true wide receiver 1, which is say you got one of the top 10 guys, and then you got Robert Woods or something like that, I'd be starting him over. I said it depends on depth.
I think that he's out of the 3, Gallup, CeeDee Lamb, and Amari Cooper, I think he scores the least amount of points out of the 3.
That being said, so you're starting Gallup over those guys? You love Gallup right here?
I'll play Gallup.
Little less Jalen action?
I'm not trusting CeeDee Lamb in a week 1. I said I don't. Week 1, I'm not trusting situations that I don't know.
I mean, the Cowboys did run 11 personnel, which is 3 wide receivers. They ran it 80% of the time. So he should, hypothetically, CeeDee Lamb should be on the field 80% of the time. And like I said, if kind of a scenario where, all right, if Cooper's just being blanketed by Jalen Ramsey, then it kind of just leaves these extra targets to go to CeeDee Lamb, to go to Blake Jarwin. And,
wait, did you see that?
And Michael Gallup.
Sorry.
Looking at the highlights.
Yeah, no, there was just this really cool this spin move. Watch this one. Bloop. Soup. Sorry. You should go check out the video if you want to see that.
So, yeah, you guys all in on Gallup starting him, but CeeDee Lamb, where do you guys stand?
Fade CeeDee Lamb, and I would say more fade CeeDee Lamb. I think you can start Amari Cooper. I know it's a rough matchup, but I don't know. I'd still put him in that order though. Gallup,
I would actually
Amari Cooper, and then CeeDee Lamb.
I would probably start safety wise Gallup over Cooper if I want to go for the upside. I mean, you could throw Cooper in there. I mean, I also don't think. I mean, you like to bring up the money thing. I was like, they paid the guy X amount of money. I don't think they're just going to be like, oh, well, you got Jalen Ramsey. Sorry, you're not seeing targets.
But the Rams did pay Jalen Ramsey X amount of money
but it's
to
also
go out there and cover guys like Amari Cooper and shut him out.
It's been a while since Ramsey's been a shutdown corner.
Jalen Ramsey.
I don't know. Look at the games
pussy.
Ramsey's played against Amari Cooper, and he just hasn't performed. And it just like if it was just Amari Cooper and like that was it, then it's like okay, kind of like the good scenario would be the Devontae Parker, Stephon Gilmore scenario, where it's like all we had was Devontae Parker, so you're gonna force feed him the ball because that's all you have. But now when you have so many weapons and you're running 11 personnel, you have a capable pass-catching tight end like a Blake Jarwin who's supposed to have this blowout year. I just don't see a scenario where they're going to be force-feeding him 7, 8, 10 targets when you have these other capable pass catchers right there. I would start CeeDee Lamb. If you have him, I would start him as a flex, third wide receiver.
I'm not starting him.
So you're not starting Amari Cooper, but you'll start CeeDee Lamb?
Yeah.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton.
I'm laughing at what he said, not what you suggested. I'm not.
We'll do a beer bet, monster bet.
Amari Cooper over CeeDee Lamb?
I'm CeeDee Lamb over Amari Cooper.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah, I'll take that too. Dude, I'm winning all these bets today. All right, we got the Rams. We got Jared Goff.
Cowboys defense or what? Dude, you're skipping all these defenses.
Because
is this your first matchup breakdown or what?
Dude, it's because I'm not
just
playing
because
anybody besides the Eagles.
Just because you are only starting the Eagles and Colts doesn't mean that everyone else doesn't have these defenses,
bro.
Oh yeah, we're talking about that.
That's like he only likes Fournette because he's got him. But no, Fournette.
I think Fournette. I don't know. That's not true.
All right, my bad. All right, Jared Goff.
No, but Cowboys defense, no.
I'm not starting. This should be. I think this is going to be a really entertaining game. Sunday night football.
It's America's game.
You're in the brand new stadium. Was it called SoFi Stadium or SoFi Stadium for the LA Rams and LA Chargers? So, yeah. With that being said, Sunday night football in a brand new stadium. I do like Jared Goff in this one. If you got him, I'm definitely dialing him up. I mean, he's got capable weapons with Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods. And then, obviously you got the Higbee hype train. He's going to be out there too. I'm not as big on him, but is he capable of catching the passes? Yeah, 100%. So, yeah, I like Jared Goff in this one.
All right. Now let's talk about my boy, Cam Akers.
This is a dance I might not dance week 1.
I'm kind of forced to dance in this one because I drafted Leonard Fournette. So
I guess in that case, I would start Cam Akers over.
Yeah. So I'm playing Cam Akers, okay? But I think where you drafted him, you might feel obligated to be Cam Akers. But explain to people why maybe you shouldn't.
I mean,
is it just because he's a rookie?
Yeah. Well, I mean, they've already they announced Malcolm Brown the starter. They said this is going to be a three-man committee to some extent until someone wins the job. So it's, to me, like I said, I'm going to assume that Cam Akers is going to be the best running back there and get the most workload week 1. That would be an assumption. Is that going to happen? There's no guarantee that. My confidence level on him in a 1 to 10 is like a 4 to 5. And it's like, do I think long-term, season-long, he's going to end up being someone you trust week in and week out? Yes. But week 1, we've said it all year long with no actual like preseason games, training camp. Like, I'm having a hard time trusting it week 1. It wouldn't surprise me if it was, he got 8 carries and a couple catches week 1, and I'm out there and I'm disappointed. Would it surprise me, though, if he got, 15 touches and a touchdown as well? No, it wouldn't. But if I can get away from it because I have a safer play, I'm going to probably do it.
Yeah, I kind of agree with, in a nutshell, I kind of agree with everything Anthony said right there. It's, what we even saw it last year with Todd Gurley. Like, Malcolm Brown was out there getting goal line carries, and that first week we were like, oh, go get Malcolm Brown because it's going to be a timeshare. But after that, we kind of saw Todd Gurley, assert his role of what he was. So I think going forward, Cam Akers is the best running back on this team. You don't go out and draft him in the second round if you don't have plans for him to be the guy going forward. I mean, obviously, and obviously, if they were confident in Malcolm Brown and Darrell Henderson, they wouldn't go out and get Cam Akers. But in week 1, with no preseason games as the rookie, I am a little nervous to throw him out there in my starting lineup.
Clyde Edwards.
Well, I know Clyde Edwards is the guy, and he's going to. Yeah, he's in the best off. He's in the best offense.
Mike's like getting sad. He's like, no.
Cam Akers scores more points than Clyde Edwards did.
I think you're getting delirious, dude. Maybe we should cut it after this one.
It's the last one.
Cam Akers more points than Clyde Edwards. Take the fucking bet, bitch.
All right.
Watch him have like 3 touchdowns.
No, dude.
Yeah, you're starting to question your analysis,
it's like
aren't you?
taking candy from a baby.
Yeah, right. I had to give you one because here's the thing: is that you gave me 2 bets that were fucking easy, maybe 3 even, and
maybe 4. I don't even remember.
Maybe 8.
It's getting late, dude.
But yeah, okay. I think you could start Cam Akers flex spot. I do think that it is a little bit sketchy in the week 1, but we're on Cowboys, we're on the Rams. But I do think it's a little bit sketchy week 1, and if you do have better options, say you drafted Cam Akers a little bit later than his ADP, for sure light those guys up. Like I have Antonio Gibson, and I have Austin Eckler, so it's like I'm in a little bit of a situation where I'm not 100% sure how I'm going to do my lineup, but you can sit back and wait, but I think you can still start him though. Ideally, sit back and wait, find a better option, but I think you won't be completely disappointed because he's about to get more points than Clyde Edwards.
Dude, I was going to bench him, but now that you just said, I have to start him now, dude.
So many people are going to be so mad at me. All right. Darrell Henderson, no. Cooper Kupp.
Oh, Cooper Kupp.
What's the status?
Dial him up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm starting. I'm
Cooper
not
Kupp.
Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, these receivers, Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods, are set it and forget it. I feel like each and every single week.
Yeah, Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, throw him in there.
Set it and forget it.
Van Jefferson is an interesting one.
Interesting. I'm curious. I'm curious on his role.
I'm hitting like the little watch symbol.
Yeah, like, hey.
Yeah. So you flex. You'll flex Van Jefferson, but you won't flex Cam Akers.
I didn't say flex him. I said watch him.
Oh, okay.
I heard
I'm subscribing to his OnlyFans. I'm watching him.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I've never used that site before, not once. We can move on to Tyler Higbee.
I mean,
I'm not the biggest Tyler Higbee guy, but if you drafted him, obviously you are a believer in Tyler Higbee, and you probably didn't draft any other tight ends, or at least any other tight ends that are in the same tier of Tyler Higbee. So with that being said, if you have Tyler Higbee, you're starting him.
Yeah.
It doesn't no matter if I'm high on him or not. Like I said, if you drafted him to be the guy, he's your guy, and you're starting him in week 1.
Yeah, I'm starting him in week 1, but this will be the week where I get to see how much 12 personnel versus 11 personnel that we get to see.
I actually think that he could go out and have a good game because I think this is going to be an entertaining game. I mean, it's like I said, it's Sunday Night Football. It's the brand new stadium. I think this is going to be a really entertaining game.
Rams defense.
No.
Aaron Donald.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
You're not going to start Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey?
No, because there's a guy named Dak Prescott and
Dak Prescott. It is a pretty stout offense. All right, but here's the thing. Are we still going on these next ones or what?
I say we pause it and we.
We're at 2 hours and 40 minutes.
Well, how many games we got left?
2. They're both Monday night games. I think there's a possibility the Niners game gets postponed. We cover that with the 2 Monday night games. That's what I'm thinking.
You have to cut this and publish it by Saturday morning, and then we will record the Monday night games tomorrow night?
Yes.
Question mark?
That's fine. All right. Throw that fucking outro music in here.
Yeah, dude.
You made it. You hit the journey.
You did.
We made the long travel.
That was a journey.
Down the week 1 road.
Did you have that thing plugged in all the way?
We had some sit-ups. Some sit-ems. We had some stardoms.
We started them.
We had some busts. And we had some names to remember.
We had some starts.
And if you made it through this whole episode, we appreciate you.
Yes.
And if you made it through this episode, you should subscribe. Hit that little button. Hit that little bell.
Click it.
Hit that little Leveon Bell.
I was going to say Leveon.
Yeah. And Anthony will be there for you
in the morning,
Sunday morning.
What are we doing on YouTube, Instagram?
Probably on, and we'll do it on Instagram Live. We'll do it on Instagram Live.
Good. All right.
As of right now, that's what we'll do. But I'll change it I'll announce it if we change it. But yeah, so little last minute setting lineups. We'll answer some questions: who to start, who to sit, all that good stuff. So be prepared for that.
Don't be scared.
Subscribe, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter, do all that good stuff. Leave us a rating and review on the Apple Podcast app if you haven't already. Kiss your mom. Tell her that you love her.
Tell her hi for me.
Tell her hi for Tyler.
Say, my boy T said hi.
I just feel like we're telling everybody what to do, and I just feel like that's like a good message, is to tell your mom you love her. You know, I'm a family man. Thanks for listening. That's all we got. Us big boys are out.
Thanks for listening to the Lord of the Rings long episode.
I was trying to think of the Lord of the Rings song.
There isn't one.